clean.
Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studios. Fueled by True North Convenience Stores. WKRK-FM and HD1 Cleveland Heights. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Well, Browns defensive end Myles Garrett cited for speeding last month in Wayne County. Garrett clocked to a 94 and a 70 as it happened down in Congress Township in the early morning hours of February 21st. Garrett has the option to appear in court March 10th or pay a fine about $155. We believe it's the 9th time he's been busted for speeding since drafted by the Browns. Last August, Garrett got clocked doing 100 in a 60 zone in Strongsville. The Browns introduced their new coordinators on Wednesday. One of them is offensive coordinator Travis Switzer, who seems to like the makeup of the current quarterback's room.
I'm excited about the guys we have here. I mean, you don't take a job if you're not excited about quarterbacks that are in the building. And it's more than one. You know, we're excited about Dylan. We're excited about Deshaun. You know, anytime you have a guy who has had the success that he's had, I mean, he's got to be part of the equation. And then Shador and what he was able to show last year. You know, he's still young. He has a lot of growth that he can still achieve, especially year 1 to year 2.
Defense coordinator Mike Rutenberg says the key to replacing Jim Schwartz, building relationships, and special teams coordinator Byron Storr believes the building blocks are there for a solid unit. Guardians had the first off day of the spring on Wednesday. Back at it tonight, going to be in Glendale as they take on the White Sox. Meanwhile, the World Baseball Classic got going last night in Tokyo, Australia, blanking Chinese Taipei 3-0. Guardians prospect Travis Bazzana, pair of base hits, including a solo home run for the Aussies. Meanwhile, right now, Korea leads Czechia 5-0 there in the bottom of the third. The United States will start play tomorrow night against Brazil in Houston. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The Afternoon Drive.
The rule should be don't do something so stupid that it impacts next year as well.
Well, and so that's where I think a lot of people are so cavalier about this whole thing is because it feels like 2027 is the true mission. Don't do anything to screw up the idea that if you see something you like in the 2027 class, you should be able to get it.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
His record shows convictions in the last 7 years, including speeding 100 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour zone.
Plus 99 in a 70, 100 in a 65, 91 in a 60.
When you hopped over in the left lane, I didn't think you were going to stop. I thought you were about ready to take off on me. So I appreciate you stopping.
Not on you.
His record shows convictions in the last 7 years, including speeding 100 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour zone.
Plus 99 in a 70, 100 in a 65, 91 in a 60.
All right, sir, here's your license back. This is a weird citation for your speed, but instead of citing you for the over 100 miles an hour, which would make it a mandatory appearance, I cited you for less. So I cited you for 94 and 70, so it's not mandatory.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I've said it before, I'll say it now, and I'm sure I'm going to have to say it into the future. You get a knock on that door, and you look out that window, and you see not just Ed, but you see Peggy Gallick bend over and kiss your ass goodbye, because it's curtains for you. Audio courtesy of Fox 8. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
What's going on, Kenny?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm annoyed. So this is the weird thing about this, is that this has happened many times before. 11, actually. 11? Were we up to 11 now of miles? And he was cited for 94, going up 71. I think he was coming back from. Was he coming back? Do we know that he was coming back from the Miami game?
Don't call them Miami of Ohio.
All right. Well, I'm calling a Miami of Ohio. I don't give a damn.
Miles
so their AD can come after me, too.
Calling a lawyer.
I want you to be in the tournament. I'm just going to call you Miami of Ohio.
We'll have Charles Davis on later to talk about that.
Well, I'm sorry, guys, but if I go walking around the city of Cleveland and I start talking about Miami, I'm going to get stories about Ed Reed and Rock Johnson and Bernie Kosar and Gino Torretta. I'm sorry, guys. Wally Zerbiak and Ron Harper are outstanding, and I'm a big fan of both, but there's just one. Jimmy Johnson, sorry. It's going to happen. Anywho, this is like the 11th time, and what's so annoying to me, and I think you probably feel the same way, is every time it happens, you go, all right, we got to talk about it. And the reason we have to talk about it, And the reason we can't say, hey, no big whoop, is because the issue is, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic about this, but he has been in an accident before, because you always think in the back of your mind, okay, what if something really horrific happens?
And something horrific already did happen.
What if something tragic happens?
Yeah.
And when something tragic happens, well, guys, you were on the radio. You said it was no big deal. You said it was no big deal. You said everything was fine. It was no big deal. Like, that's the type of audio that gets played in the documentary if something really tragic happens. So it becomes even more annoying because you're looking at it going, yeah, he's a grown adult tax-paying citizen. Pay your fine. He got a 94 instead of going over 100. People cut brakes. That happens in America. It happens. Okay, that's the way she goes. I can see that. But at the same time of it, yeah, points are accumulating. Maybe he will lose his license. Maybe it's good that he loses his license for a little while. But when I'm sitting here going, oh, my God, I can't. I'm reaching back. I can't fake it. I can't fake it. I know it's serious, but compared to a lot of other things we got to talk about in sports and with our athletes, it doesn't come close. It doesn't come close. So you're in this spot where I need to take this seriously. He needs to take it seriously, but am I saying he needs to spend time in jail? Nope. He doesn't need to be traded over it? Nope. If somebody goes, well, I'm only going to give you 2 first-round picks because he got caught for speeding, I'd hang up and laugh at him. Like, there is something here where we just have to practice some common sense and go, yeah, he's a really, really, really good player. If he were a third-team wide receiver for the Browns, if it's that big of a deal, just cut his ass.
Yeah, if this were Isaiah Bond, right?
But it's Myles Garrett.
It's Myles Garrett. He's really good at football.
And he's a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and we have to be honest with each other here. And I know it has some seriousness to it for all the reasons I just said, but I think a lot of fans feel that way, and they're caught in a rock and a hard place.
I think, in life, we're all hypocrites
It's
about
just annoying.
certain things one way or another. The speeding one is weird because, how many of us have sped in the last week, in the last 24 hours, in the last 2 hours?
That's why I'm annoyed. That right there is why I'm annoyed. We've all done it. We all know it's not responsible. Okay? We've all done it. We all know it's not responsible. So it just sets you up to be a hypocrite if I sit there and froth at the mouth screaming at him, but I don't mean to do it. I wouldn't do it. I just know it's annoying every time we have to talk about it. Every time. And it's like, well, you need to be more serious about it. I am serious about it. It is the situation that he's in. Slow it down. Could you please just set the...
Well, the team has told him, the coaches have told him, right, over the years, because
I'm annoyed talking about it.
What
just slow it
happens
down.
is in the press conferences, then the coaches get asked about it. Now, this story came out after the press conferences yesterday.
Correct.
Had it come out before, the new defensive coordinator would have been asked. Like, that's just how this works. So
How
I don't
does
know.
Mike Rutenberg answer that question?
Yeah, maybe it's the next time that he gets in front of a microphone or whatever when they debrief
it's
with
happened,
free agency.
Has it happened 11 times? I'm pretty positive it's happened 11 times.
9 since 2017 for speeding.
So I got, 9
come
for
Halloween,
speeding.
Come Halloween, does he have, in the graveyard, he's got all the quarterbacks he sacked, and he's got all the officers that pulled him over?
We're doing serious times.
What does he do?
Yeah, this is serious talk time now.
I don't know how serious it is to
Put that
Miles.
one in your documentary.
Clearly
honestly,
it isn't. Clearly it isn't.
Does anybody think it matters to Miles?
$155 fine. That's the price of doing business, it seems, right?
And not to mention, what do guys pay to go out on what's the place you could take
Nelson
the cars out,
Ledges.
go really fast, and race them?
But that's
you don't get a ticket there.
That's
Crocker Road in Westlake.
It's the 9th ticket since 2017.
Yeah.
9th.
Well, and think about it, like we're talking about whether he would lose his license. Well, if every time he gets pulled over and they just take him down past 100, because clearly he was going over 100, and she did him a solid. Which, would she do that for us? No. Well, how many sacks did you have last year?
You don't know that.
How many sacks did you have last year, Owen?
I didn't have any.
You've never been cut a break in traffic?
No. In fact, I got down in Marion. I will never forget this woman.
You've never been caught.
I said the most vile things about this woman.
I was why you didn't get a break.
I was being. Oh no, I didn't say that to her. This was after the fact. I was going 6 over on 71 going back to Ohio State, and she said, "Yeah, I got to write you a ticket." And I go, "For 6 over?" I said, "I thought you could do 7." She goes, "Well, that's 7 over." No, you can't do it. You can't go 7 over.
What, just 6-minute abs?
And she knew. And she knew where I was from. She knew I'd probably never go fight it or whatever, and I didn't. And that was that. If I led the NFL in sacks and set a record, maybe she would have let me off.
There was one time.
She didn't care about my prestigious State House coverage at the Lantern at the time.
There was one time I got kind of tight with a cop when I got pulled over. I worked here. We were living in West Park. I was going to a Perry football game. And there were it did that situation where there were 2 cars in front of me, right? And they were driving side by side. And I think, is it 60 going down 21? Because you got to go down 21. Because I did down 21, then cut across Lincoln Way, went to Perry High School, right? This is years ago, right? And I'm going down. These cars are going next to each other. And this is like 4 miles. And they're going 54 miles an hour.
Slowest drag race in the world.
And I'm boiling. I am boiling. And finally, one gets a little further than the other and gets over, and I cut out in the left lane, and I blow their effing doors off. And right when I did it, there was a police stop, and then might have been a little bit greasy, but it seemed like 100 yards away, there was another cop sitting there. There was a sheriff's deputy. He hits the lights. I go, you gotta be effing kidding me. And I was like, I almost wanted to go, you need to go after them for going too damn slow and put me in this situation. I'll never forget, this guy comes up. He hits the things. I pull over to the side of the road. I'm on 21. He comes up the truck. He goes, do you have any idea why I pulled you over? And I looked right back at him and go, because I was going way too fast. I was so pissed at the people. They went by, and I'm like, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to let the air out of your tires. Like, I was pissed. That's the only time. Every other time, it's been like, I had the one situation where I was picking the kids up from school, and the Eli was doing something goofy in the back seat, and I looked behind me, and all of a sudden I was going like 46 and a 35, and I pulled into this driveway, and the cop came up, and all the kids are sitting there looking at it. He was like, oh, you got your hands full, don't you? I was like, I'm sorry. My son back there was getting worked up. But I got a break then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I got a break then. So listen, breaks, hopefully everybody gets a little bit of a courtesy here and there. Every now and then you're not paying attention. You end up going a little bit over the speed limit. We're talking 9 times here. And damn it, boys, I'm just annoyed talking about it. I saw this starting to happen, and the newsroom's starting to buzz, and I'm going, oh, yeah, we got to talk about this again. Okay.
And what time was this?
It's just like, man, could you just stop? Because you're annoying the hell out of me doing this. 1:30 in the morning, going 94 miles an hour. He doesn't drink, thank God.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God.
So it's late. There's the fewest amount of cars possible that are going to be on the road. He's out on the road. Now, sometimes you don't know who's around you and what they're doing. That can get you a little nervous. Maybe that's also a reason I'm going to get on past this stretch.
Yeah.
Because these guys are drifting all over the place. I don't want to be anywhere in their orbit.
Yeah. It sucks. I hate it because you end up coming off like a total hypocrite because it's speed. But you have to take it seriously because he's a major figure. If something horrific were to happen, really horrific, life-altering, life-ending, God forbid, everything, like if the course of history changes through sports, the audio of you not taking it seriously is part of the documentary. So you have to take it seriously. And the seriousness of which I take it, I'm going, man, I'm just so damn annoyed every 6 months or so I got to sit here and talk about this.
Yeah, now he's a grown man. If these
it's
were
almost
your
like I wish a court would take his license for a little bit of time just so I know I don't have to talk about it for a while.
Well, they would have. If he would have been clocked over 100, I think they probably would have given his history.
August of 2025, he was clocked for going 100 and a 60. And he was asked about it in August of 2025, and here it is.
Well, Miles, we have not talked to you since your last speeding incident. What is it like to be in that car and seeing that speedometer creep up toward 100?
I'd honestly rather talk about football and this team than anything I'm doing off field other than the back-to-school event that I did the other day.
But still, people want to know about that.
People want to know a lot of things, but I try to keep my personal life personal. I'd rather focus on this team when I can.
I always thought, what if he would have answered, "It's awesome, Jeff. It is awesome to get behind the wheel and see that thing go. Haven't you seen the movies? Haven't you ever want to be a race car driver? Like, you imagine if he was such a smartass to the point where he was...
That was the first question that day. It's got to be the first question again, right?
Yeah, when's the next time he'd get in front of
No, yeah, because he's not going to come to OTAs.
No, he's not going to be at
He
OTAs.
didn't go to OTAs last year.
By that time, are we really going to ask him in June? Are you really going to ask him in minicamp? Or May, I should say, right? You got
How many more is he going to have between now and June?
Well, you hope none.
Yeah. I hoped last August he wouldn't have any more either.
But every time, I see the social media. Social media reaction is brought to you by
Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
And the internet rolls their eyes. And guys, hey, I don't blame you, but I got to talk about it every time he does it. And I'm sure you guys are annoyed hearing about it.
Well, now wait a second.
Imagine having to talk about it every time.
I bet you there are people right now going, no, you don't. You don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, I do.
People speed every day. Miles has sped before. He still has his license.
He had a major accident before.
Yeah.
Like...
So is it a public? You're doing this as a public service?
No.
To like shame him?
No.
To make him more careful next time?
So
why do you have to talk about it?
Because it's news. It's the Browns. He's the biggest player on the Browns. He's one of the biggest players in history. And it's not the first or the second time. 9 times, man. 9.
I mean, I can only tell you.
So when it's 9, I get annoyed. I mean, I was annoyed at 7, so I'm annoyed now at 9.
Yeah, people know what I do for a living. Obviously, my buddies. I didn't get one text from a friend who cared about this.
I didn't either.
Do Browns fans really care about this?
So you don't want to discuss it at all?
I just, it didn't matter to me. I get what we do for a living. We are here to do the news and talk about Browns players when they make the news.
Did I say he was a bad guy?
No.
Did I say that he needs to go to the Hooskow over it? No, I didn't.
Now, there are some people saying he absolutely needs to to pay the piper for it.
Don't sit here and paint me out to be Chicken Little. I'm just telling you guys how I feel, and my feeling is annoyance.
I
I'm
wondered
annoyed
if Browns
by
fans care at all. How many of them care at all?
I don't think many do. I don't think many do. I do think that there is, because the last time it happened, and we talked about it, and we wondered whether or not people cared at all, and because it was so recent, we always remember these things because it was recent. There is always... Sadly, a lot, because there's thousands of people who hear us every 15 minutes, Tone, and there's going to be people in there going, my nephew died because somebody went flying up on him in the middle of the night, went to get out of the way, one thing went, and I feel terrible for those people. So there has to be a level of seriousness, because I guarantee you, someone's going to hear this and go, why aren't you taking it seriously when my family member passed away? Why aren't you taking it seriously? I take this seriously. That's what they'll say. And I don't want to say that person, their feelings don't matter to me. Their feelings do matter to me. That's a horrific situation. That's why I'm so damn annoyed by it.
Would you like,
But I know there's nothing I can do except for stop my feet and just be pissed.
Do you think Miles should
that we
do
even
like
have to
a
discuss it?
Public service announcement? Tell everybody this is not smart.
Well, I'm not that judge up in Lake County. He used to do all the crazy sentences. He's retired.
I think retired, yeah.
What was his name?
That dude was doing some crazy stuff.
Remember he had that
Ito?
guy? No, he made that.
Ito?
Remember? No, that's a different Judge Ito.
He got a lot of national attention too.
The guy who made remember the one person to face the school, and they made him mow the grass,
mow the lawn.
And we had Jessica Dill on the radio with us because she was reporting live while he was walking and mowing the grass with the old style rotary mower. That guy was a cat's ass when it comes to judges. I don't think the guy who had to mow the grass felt that way, but that guy was cat's ass when it came to judges. Yeah. Like, it's not a big giant discussion. It's not a come to Jesus about the Browns and getting rid of them or anything like that. Like, no, that's silly. I'm not going to say what I don't feel. I don't feel that way. But yeah, hey, guys, I'm not trying to be Chicken Little here. I'm just annoyed. I'm really like, come on, can you just 79?
I'm getting a lot of he drives McLarens and Porsches. 79. You don't buy those cars to go slow.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to save my money. I'm going to get myself a McLaren, and I'm going to go 65. Boom. 216-474-0092. All right. I'm sure this will get brought up again because Mary Kay joins us this morning at 8:20. You know who else joins us this morning at 9:20? Greg Williams.
Yes.
Former Browns defensive coordinator, former NFL head coach, hell of a personality.
You got to ask him, how would he care if his player got a speeding ticket?
There you go. Because it's the offseason. We always talk about December in Berea. It's the offseason in Berea. 216-474-0092. Coming up next, I hate to call out people on our own station. I'm kidding. I love calling them out. So I got to ask this question. Are you sure he don't want the Cavs to lose? I know we're supposed to want Cleveland teams to win. I don't know if we got a buddy over there on one of our shows here on The Fan that doesn't want the Cavs to lose. It's coming up.
and electrical needs. Or visit TriCountyElectricService.com.
You can now watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. Baskin and Phelps 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. And Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. Each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
So we all like to be right. We're radio show hosts. We like to be right. I think the difference is you and I, we will admit when we're wrong. I'll embrace being wrong and say, yeah, I was wrong. And I'm glad that we profited from this, and this is all great as a fan base. If they take Kyler Murray, you guys know where I stand with Kyler Murray. I softened a little bit yesterday with the Charles Davis interview that we had at 9:20, which you can hear 92.3thefan.com, or at 9 o'clock, that you can hear 92.3thefan.com. I softened a little bit with Charles Davis because, Charles knows what he's talking about. I'm sitting next to Tone over here. So 3 hours of Tone, then one segment of Charles Davis is going to change things. But, if they were to take Kyler Murray, I'm still a no. But if they were to take Kyler Murray and they went 11-6 next year and went to the playoffs and he was throwing for 4,000 yards and looked like that electrifying Kyler Murray that everybody got excited about some years ago, yeah, man, call me up and tell me I was wrong. I was wrong. Great. Love it. Love being wrong. Would love to be wrong about that. Some of us, though, as radio show hosts, say we want to be wrong. I don't know if we want to be wrong. I got to hear Nick from yesterday because, damn, man, I had to ask. I go, Nick, you sure you don't want this Cavs team to lose?
I agree with JB Bickerstaff. If you really feel, they're not on our level, put your name on it. I think it's a bit of a chicken bleep move, and I'm a little leery of a team buying into their place as the face of the East when you haven't earned it on the court. And the only way you can earn it on the court isn't in the regular season. It's in the postseason where this organization, no matter whether they did it here or elsewhere, is not really succeeded at the level we hoped.
Now, Lima, you kind of put that thought into my head. Are we sure Nick wants them to win?
Well, I've been involved in this before where you make a big argument, and Nick did not want the Harden trade whatsoever. Did not like it at all. And now they're playing well, and Harden's playing well. And, hey, Darius played again last night, by the way. Second game, came off the bench. Played about 25 minutes. But when you put yourself into a corner, you double down, you triple down, then as a sports talk show host, you're still supposed to root for the hometown team, but you also want to be right. Because, there's some ego attached to this, even though our show has fun when we get stuff wrong.
Yeah.
But you get the picture. I do wonder what that's going to be like come playoff time, because it's kind of a win-win for Nick if you think about it. They win the playoff games, he gets to say, hey, that's great, we won. I'm a Cleveland fan, lifelong Cleveland fan. But if they lose, he'd be like, I told you I wouldn't make the trade.
On the other side, Peterlin, boy, he's throwing his weight around here with this Cavaliers team. How much respect does Jonathan have for the rest of the Eastern Conference compared to these Cavs?
I don't have a postseason to mock for you. All I have is the number 1 seed, and in 2 games, the Cavs have been much better than the number 1 seed in the East.
You don't even respect the Pistons.
That doesn't matter. They're the number 1 seed in the East.
You don't respect the Pistons, though. You're taking victory laps on a team you think is bunk in the playoffs.
Are they not the number 1 seed in the East?
Yes,
are
they
they
are.
not?
I
can only go off of what the East gives me. What they give me right now is a Knicks team I don't believe in, a Pistons team I don't believe in, and a Celtics team I wildly respect despite having their best player. Part of that is the confidence, is that I don't respect the East. I don't respect a lot of what their teams are, and I do think this Cavs team is better than them.
I just think you want to have your cake and eat it too.
No, it's all baked into the equation.
You want to have your cake and eat it too.
Why aren't you listening to me?
The Cavs have completely changed. They're a completely different team.
Into the
By the way, the Pistons are a bunk team.
That's part of the equation.
Jonathan starts eating a little bit more. He's going to start sounding like me.
I thought it was awesome yesterday.
He sounds like me in the things I would say to you, but I mean with the fat in the throat and things like that.
I was texting cake and he eats it too.
I was texting you guys yesterday because this was enjoyable. I love the passion behind the Cavs because
I stopped what I was doing and I was listening.
This is awesome. We've got 20 games left in the season. And I do think fans have got to start to really take stock. Where are the fans right now with 20 games left on this team's chances to make a deep run? Because that's the expectation.
So I totally disagreed with Nick when the James Harden trade happened. Okay, I totally disagreed with Nick. I was annoyed with Nick, and that's fine. I mean, we are all annoyed by each other's opinions. This is what happens. I was annoyed with Nick, but got to tell you, I don't agree about the J.B. Bickerstaff thing. Like, I think there's guys on that team who, if they wanted to say it, they'd put their name on it. That's why it's like Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder's never shied away from putting his name on quotes. I don't think it was him. Regardless, it was said. And they had a chance to go out there and make the Cavs pay for it, and they didn't. The Cavaliers are a bad matchup for the Detroit Pistons. That all being pointed out. And I love to be a braggadocious person. I love to start whooping it up and playing all the music. And you know me, I love to brag about these teams and get really, really excited. I love to reap. I hate to sow. That said, I see where Nick's coming from. I like Nick's point of view. It's been one game. Let me point this out. It's been one game. How many times have they let us down before? It has been history. I know it's James Harden. I know they look better. I know they look tougher. And Jalen Tyson is coming into his own. He's not just a tough guy. He's a fabulous player. However, I can't go against 4 years of history that are on Nick's side compared to one game that might be showing us that maybe we can shed the soft label. Maybe we can shed the loudmouth team that goes out there and loses in the second round because they get manhandled by a physically tougher opponent. So while I want to disagree with Nick, and I want to say that Nick's wrong and beat up on Nick and all those other things, I can't. I actually have to agree with him. Because I want to be Jonathan's way. I want to say that's the rest of the East. And maybe by the end of the year, the end of the regular season, I will get there. But it has only been, it's been a big win against the Knicks. It's been a couple other nice wins. And it was a nice win the other day when you didn't have Donovan Mitchell against the Detroit Pistons. However, boy, we're saying a lot of things here that and these checks are going to have to be cashed in the postseason.
Are they really saying all that much? I mean, we had one quote about Detroit, and I think by the way, I think our fans all feel the exact same way after seeing Detroit twice. Like, they're not beating us. If we're able to do that with Donovan,
and I would understand
without
that
Donovan, I should say,
that level, that makes me feel a little bit better. But I still got the Knicks out there. Mm-hmm. I watched them against Oklahoma City last night. You still have Boston out there. Boston is a nightmare, I think, for a lot of people. And when you get Jason Tatum back, they're going to be a real nightmare. Now, maybe you're hoping that him and Jaylen Brown can't coexist because it's definitely Jaylen Brown's team right now. But you're kind of hoping that. There's still a runway to it. I just think it's pretty premature for me to say, that's the end. We're no longer soft. We're tough. We got a baseball bat, and we're ready to beat everybody in the East like that. No, yeah, I still think – I got to agree with Nick. I hate to do it. I still think it's a bit premature.
Well, look, there's no doubt they're a team that's accomplished nothing. And Donovan Mitchell, the way that dude operates, the way that guy, is such a competitive freak, especially come playoffs, where he's been one of, I got to tell you, there's like 5 guys in the league over the last 15 years that have been able to deliver the way that he does with his performances. Uh-huh. They have not been enough. That's how much help is needed come postseason time. But nobody denies there are guys that go and drift away in the playoffs that can't step up their game. We traded one of them, unfortunately, because he wasn't able to step up on that stage. Well, I think Donovan feels like he's got guys around him that are playoff risers that can take that game to the next level.
You're making me clarify something.
Can defend and be physical. This. And I know Harden's not that guy on that side of the floor, but at least he can kind of hold his own, move guys around a little bit, which obviously they didn't have that with their other guard previously. And I do feel like they have more of a mental edge than kind of the front-running Cavs teams of the past.
I think that there is a difference there, and you make me have to clarify something in 5 minutes. 216-474-0092. Well, do you happen to agree with Nick? I have to actually agree with Nick. This has only been a short period of time. The Cavs, I think, are a much better team with James Harden, without a doubt. But maybe we're, as Nick said yesterday, maybe we're, quote, smelling our own farts a little bit too much. Do you want the Cavs to speak softly and carry a big stick? 216-474-0092. That, and coming up at 7, you're extremely cynical about these coaches. And that's a damn good thing on The Fan.
Hey, guys, it's Jonathan for my...
integratedrestoration.us.
Increasing congestion 90 east from 71 to Carnegie. Traffic's light 480 east from Tiedemann to Rockside. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
There's only one place to hear breaking Browns news. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. We'll talk to her about Miles doing Jeff Gordon. We did talk about it coming at 6 o'clock. You can go back and hear that. It's just annoying. That's all. It's annoying that we have to talk about it. Also, Lima is planting his flag in the ground coming up at 7:20 this morning. About what? We'll tell you at 7:20 this morning. 216-474-0092. Peterlin says, bring on the Pistons.
If the Cavs want to go ahead and tell me for the next 25 games they're going to try to do whatever they can to take on the Pistons in round 2, I co-sign. I'm on board with that plan.
It's still too confident for me.
No, if that's what they want to do, listen, avoid Boston, avoid the Knicks, even though I'm not that high on New York. If you want to do that and make that your big run, kind of like you did with Orlando a couple years ago, I'll co-sign. That one, it made sense to me. If it blows up in your face, it blows up in your face. But you got Detroit's number. You do.
I think Jonathan is right. It is a bad matchup for Detroit. They can do what they want. Donovan is when he gets back, I think it's going to be the one that puts him over. I think that if they got in a series, I think my main concern would be chippiness because I think it would be a very frustrating series for the Detroit Pistons, but I think it's a series that the Cavaliers would win. That all being pointed out here, going back to the anonymous quote, JB, I thought, he got annoyed by it. And when you hear that anonymous quote in the pregame, you think, okay, well, the Pistons, they got Isaiah Stewart and they got a lot of guys. Tobias Harris put his shoulders into people. Like there was a feeling. You even said going into the game the other night, you thought things might get out of hand on the floor at some point.
Yeah, just because when you play a team twice like that, and we're not talking about a third of the league that's tanking, we're talking about two teams that are trying to ascend at the right time and start to put their stamp on those matchups because that could be a series.
I penciled the Cavs in the finals. So it seems like I'm flip-flopping when I say, yeah, I agree with Nick that maybe we should calm down on some of the rhetoric here. But that's the Cavs. That's the Cavs to me. That's not me. I mean, I could stand up for what I said, and I think that, I'm going to pencil them into the finals. Now, Boston is going to be a little bit scary, but I'm going to pencil them in, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going to do it. Me talking is different from them talking. And I think that while it's great that they have been tougher, it's great that they have found more veteran leadership. And it's hard to say that with James Harden because if you would have asked me that 2 months ago when he was still in L.A., who knows what I would have said. That's fair. But so far, so good. I think him and Donovan take this thing very seriously. I think Donovan's taken it up a notch, even though he's been out the last handful of games. I think that there's a seriousness there that I haven't seen with this Cavaliers team since before or after Donovan got there. I think at times Donovan was frustrated because there was that lack of seriousness there, Tone. But I think that it's still a team that maybe, let's calm down on the anonymous quotes. Let's step back for a minute because you've been a team that, hey, man, one game against Detroit or a nice run at the end of February, that's not going to change everything. The book is still going to be out on you. James Harden is a respected player. Donovan is too. Jared Allen had a really, really nice month of February and obviously was pretty nice the other night. But you still have a moniker that you have to shake being a soft team. That when the lights are bright, you go away. When times get tough, you're going to be a shrinking violet. That doesn't go away just during the regular season. I'm sorry. You have a time to prove it. So you can be confident. You're NBA players. You're going to be confident. But I've been fooled, and I've tried to drag them into toughness so many times, or I should say 3 straight years, and we haven't always got that. And so I'm sorry, I'm not going to be fooled again. Not until you go out there and prove it. And the only way they can really prove it is us getting to the postseason. We still have, 19, 20 games left to go.
20 games, and that's totally fair. I just do feel they are different. I feel they're totally different makeup right now.
That's what makes it a tough conversation for me to have with you. They are different in makeup, but damn, I have just been so betrayed in the postseason because it's one thing, man. I real quick, you mentioned the Harden thing and the difference, and I needed to clarify. If you just get out-assed Like my old football coach, Keith Wakefield, used to say, there's a difference between being outfought and out-assed. You can be out-assed. If they just got better players, that's one thing. But you cannot be outfought. It's a great quote, by the way. And if you get out-assed, that's fine. But, man, when the Knicks really punk you, when it feels like Indiana does it, when it definitely feels like it's happened so many times over, that makes a fan base pretty cynical over you. This Cavs conversation brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside Hard Ice.
Yeah,
to remind you to please enjoy responsibly.
And the fans have let us know that. Like they've told us. Owen has been big all year on kind of wake me up when the playoffs start. But then they made the trade.
Right.
And what did you say?
I said I'm in. I'm all in now. Like I'm ready to pay attention because they finally did something different. They gave me the same roster for 3 years, and now they've done something different.
And
it makes me excited.
Look
again.
at the type of guys they brought in too, and also part of that elevating somebody like Jalen Tyson played 12 playoff minutes last year. I don't even think he got in the Indiana series. Well, think of what a difference maker. That guy's not scared of anybody.
You're right.
We know earlier this year the stuff he said about Donovan and Cleveland. It's his city. He doesn't back down from anybody. Not LeBron James. Not Cade Cunningham the other night. Like, that guy is going to be a thorn in the side of a ton of really good players come playoff time. And I love that. Keon Ellis, another guy, don't let his size fool you. Like, we've been worried about how slight some of our guys are. This is different. Like, that guy, again, plays way taller, way bigger than he is. He is a mess to go up against. Obviously, Dennis Schroeder, same thing. Doesn't back down from anybody. And, yeah, James Harden, not going to be a rugged defender. He's not going to fight anybody. That's not him. But what he does is you can see he exudes confidence.
Yeah.
That guy's never rattled. He finally had his worst shooting, a bad shooting night, and it was a bad one the other day, but still impacted the game in many ways. And he's not going to be rattled. Notice he kept shooting. Like he wasn't worried. He knew Donovan wasn't there, so he knew if he had to keep shooting, he would. So I think that's important. The fabric of this team has totally changed. And so while everything Nick says, everything you say, I totally get that. But I do think they have a confidence about them that doesn't seem like a front-running confidence that I thought the team
you feel that
of the last 4 years.
Is it just because I know you picked on Darius yesterday. You called him Little Darius. Did you catch a bunch of hell online over that?
A little bit.
Okay. Thought you would. There are a lot of people who really like Darius Garland. Just because Darius isn't there, is that why you feel the way you feel?
Well, it's a big part
because Darius
of it
was accused of being a front runner in terms of being in or out emotionally in the past. You and I both know.
Well, and I've never and Donovan is not that guy. Like, Donovan doesn't talk. He lets his game do the talking. I thought there were times when Darius, he'd talk a lot for a guy who hasn't really accomplished all that much in the NBA.
Oh, okay. I think that's guilty as charged. That's guilty as charged.
For someone who's supposed to be a star, he doesn't have any kind of a resume in the postseason to warrant that.
And it should make me feel more confident for this team. And again, that's why I penciled him in. But when I hear what Nick's saying, I go, yeah, you know what? I can see where Nick's coming from. That stuff just doesn't just go away a couple of weeks after a trade. And I do think that there is a group of fans, like Owen's interested again. That's awesome. I'm glad Owen's interested in the Cavs again. I know I sound like I'm being ridiculous here. I'm glad that he's interested again. I'm glad that there are people who are interested again because, okay, now maybe they take it more seriously. But it still doesn't change the past. They can't do anything about the past. And I'm stuck in a spot where you can only go from what's ahead of you. And what's ahead of you is the postseason. There's a couple of games that are previews, but that's about it.
But they've taken the opportunity to try to forget the past by making these changes.
That's true.
And they hadn't done that. They just said, just wait, right?
When you bring in,
we're going to do the same thing, but wait, it's going to be different.
And I have, listen, I respect his people. James Harden as a player, you're talking about 2 extra years of playoff experience throughout 2 extra seasons of playoff experience with James Harden. That's a different animal than Darius Garland, is he going to be able to go tonight? He's still young, and how many games has he actually played in the postseason?
Scorer that knows he can score the ball when it's time to score.
Exactly, but that puts up that much more pressure because there's plenty of people outside of Cleveland going, do you know about James Harden postseason basketball? And we go, yeah, we know it.
Yeah,
we know it.
He has 90 wins. He's eighth currently right now of all the NBA guys. He's 8th in wins. He's 3rd in scoring. He's 2nd in assists.
Exactly.
He's actually been a lot better in the playoffs than people think because of what's happened in Game 7s when he's either had his disappearing acts or whatever. The good news is he's got Donovan Mitchell now, and I've seen Donovan be able to handle himself in clinching games. They've got the scoring part down. I'm not worried about that nearly as much as maybe some of the other teams. But I will say, it's still a question until proven otherwise. You're exactly right. But you talked about they still have their past. Well, they think they traded part of that past that was holding them back.
Greg Williams coming up at 9:20 this morning, which, by the way, before we get on Greg, later on, we have some audio about Anthony Richardson we got to play where I think it's going to tell everybody no to him, even if you were probably saying no before. 216-474-0092. You're extremely cynical about these coaches. That's a very good thing. And I want to bring up one guy very quickly. No, guys, we're not the place that's going to fix them. Who is it? I'll tell you in 5 on the Fan.
XTENDAV.com. Extend.
the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The NFL's legal tampering period gets underway Monday at noon. Get all the latest news right here on your home for breaking sports news in Cleveland. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Myles Garrett speeding. More on that coming up here in a little bit. We already talked about it at 6. I'm not going to spend a whole show on it. I'm just as annoyed talking about it as you guys are annoyed hearing about it. But we do have a job to do, and Mary Kay Cabot's going to join us at 8:20 this morning, and we have to ask her about it. 216-474-0092. I want to hear from some of these coordinators that spoke yesterday in just a moment. However, just let us get this off our chest, because guys are going to get released. This is almost like a rom-com or a 90s sitcom. Stephon Diggs got released. I didn't see much, but I'm still going to say it. You can't fix him. We good? We good?
Fix him? What do you mean?
Like Stephon Diggs getting let go. I didn't see anything as far as people wanting the Browns to bring him in or anything like that. He's a big name. He's been a tremendous wide receiver. I know he's got some things going on right now. You're not going to fix him. Are we good? Are we good on that?
He had 1,000 yards.
So you want to bring him in?
No, you're saying fixed. You're saying he can't play?
Well,
or?
No. I think I don't think he's going to get 1,000 yards with the Browns right now. But I don't think that you're going to bring him in and things are going to be hunky-dory is what I'm specifying.
Gotcha.
It's a big name, and I think we just need to be on the record about big names because we get free agency starting up again next week.
Big name that's 32.
Yeah, but when these names come around, and I hate saying no to everybody. Like, you can't just, it's easy to say no to everybody. It's hard to say yes because that comes with money and that comes with all the other things. So it sucks to keep saying no to these guys because it sounds like I'm just afraid of everybody. I'd love to say yes to a couple of these guys. And probably as the week goes on or going into next week, I will say yes to a couple of these guys. I thought the Titus Howard trade was fine. I think that he can be a very fine player for you.
Yeah, I was good
Contrary to what the folks at ESPN think, I think that he can be a fine player for us. But Stephon Diggs is a big name. Everybody always kicks the tires and go, well, Stephon Diggs. No, this ain't the place.
Yeah, and like obviously nobody would be surprised if 6 weeks into that experiment, we're looking for an exit strategy all the way around.
Well, it's the same thing. A.J. Brown's a really fine player, and he's a really fine athlete. This just isn't the place to fix cantankerous wide receivers. I said the same thing about Deontay Johnson. Remember, Keith got mad at me for not talking about Deontay Johnson, and he just kept being, speaking of annoying, he kept annoying me about Deontay Johnson, and finally I blew my stack and went nuts that one morning. I ended up being right because he was nothing for you. But these are big names in a position that you need crazily. I mean, we go into this year with Jerry Jeudy that not a lot of people trust or like. I don't got nothing against him personally or anything like that, but when you have a bad year, people don't tend to like you as a football player. You got Isaiah Bond, who I think he knows how to run one route.
Man, it's a good one though. He does get behind guys.
When Shador's throwing to him, the other one, it's a hot air balloon. I haven't seen Deshaun throw to him. It's a dirigible all the way out there to Isaiah Bond. He's still waiting out there at the 30-yard line for it to come down. Shador will get it to him, but I can't say any of that because if I say that, then I'm just part of a cult, apparently. I'm Marshall Applewhite all of a sudden.
You guys absolutely scared me with that sound effect.
No, Ken used the term.
Welcome
I didn't
to it,
use
John.
the term.
Welcome to it, my
I
friend.
thought the radio just went out.
Well, no, I use the term in a loving fashion because I get accused of being in a cult or now I'm accused of being the cult leader. People are sending me David Koresh memes and all this other stuff. I go, good God, guys, come on.
Oh, you just said he's for you right now. He's QB1, but he'll be competing.
Yeah,
that's all.
Is that such a bad thing to say? I don't think he should be competing with Ty Simpson.
Right.
Possibly at number 6 overall, like Mary Kay said the other day. So we'll ask Mary Kay about that at 8:20. The coordinators. So we're just on the record, right? A.J. Brown, this ain't the place that's going to fix him.
Probably not here, yes.
Exactly. If you had, say Shador becomes that guy, or say you bring in Kyler Murray and he's that guy, or you take big name quarterback next year that ain't Arch Manning, fine, and then he becomes that guy, it's like, yeah, maybe you're a place that can fix certain wide receivers. Maybe you're a place where guys who have reached their limit with their current team, you're a place where they can go to and thrive. But we're not that place right now, so I can't entertain that. Mike Rutenberg spoke yesterday, as well as Travis Schweitzer, which Owen's from Oklahoma, and we have the same problem. I grew up a big fan of Barry Switzer. Owen is definitely a big fan of Oklahoma football and a big fan of Barry Switzer, so I keep trying to not call the guy Switzer, even though he went to Akron. So I'm going to try my damnedest here. Both guys spoke yesterday. Here is Mike Rutenberg on Todd Monken and their long relationship.
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly what makes me trust him. I've known him really well for 2 weeks now, and that guy is the right guy for this job. He is an incredible human, an incredible leader in 2 weeks. Great wisdom, deals and solutions, which is awesome. I don't think I need to talk about how good he is as an offensive coach because we've seen that. So I've been able to see it. I am forever grateful to Coach Monk. We've had some times where we've just sat together and hung out, and I've learned a ton from him. I cannot wait to work with him and for him.
John felt the same way about me.
And then 3 days in?
Yeah. Is 2 weeks long enough to know that you there's people who get married the first night they meet.
This is what's really going to be interesting. Obviously, we heard Robert Saleh say good things about him, that he might have hired him or thought to hire him. So it's not like he wasn't at some point, going to be in this position. But it's really going to be interesting not only to see how these guys come together, but Todd Monken, how he coaches his coaches. Like that is going to be a lot on the plate of Todd Monken. That's what happens when you have a bunch of first-timers. And we noticed right away, Freddie didn't do so well when it came to that. And obviously we think Todd's pedigree, acumen, his background, a lot more experience there. But we only think about the players. Coaching all these first-time coordinators, too.
So we're having some fun. Rutenberg seems like a good guy, but you just said something I'm going to come back to here in a second. I want to hear it from Travis Schweitzer. Here's what he says about Todd Monken being the perfect fit for your Cleveland Browns.
Like, if you were to just say Todd Monken, like, what's the first thing that kind of comes to my mind is passion, And I've said this to a lot of people, like, he would have been great anywhere. He is perfect for here. And I truly believe that. I mean, the city, the players, the building, they're going to see his passion, and I think that's going to rub off on people, and it's going to be great.
How do you feel about this hire compared to others? Because you brought up Freddie. It was a honeymoon unlike a lot of things that we've seen. I understand that when Hugh got here, there was the people clapping. Yes, I am in the video. I did not clap. I made a conscious effort. Maybe he noticed I didn't clap, and that's why we didn't get off on the right foot.
Oh, they observe. They see everything.
Because I knew that I worked around you at that time, and I knew that if you guys saw it, I'd never live it down. So I did not clap. Plus, I had sang happy birthday to Mike Penton before, and I still haven't lived that down here over a decade later. How do you feel about this hire? Now that we've settled in, we've made our assistant coaching hires. Are you guys cynical about this? Like when you hear 2 weeks, like we laugh and we chuckle and we roll our eyes. When you hear like, oh, he's the perfect fit. He's a football coach. This is a team that's going to have some problems this year, regardless of who you bring in. Like, yeah, you're going to need a passionate guy that's going to roll his sleeves up and go after it. There's other guys that you've hired that have been passionate.
I always do have to laugh when guys come in here and the first thing they talk about is the dog pound. And it's like, oh, yeah, the PR person told you to say dog pound 2 seconds before you came in.
He did go to Akron.
Right.
Schweitzer did.
There's certain guys.
He knows a little bit.
Would know, but I always wonder if it's patronizing to hear stuff like, oh, you guys will see. He fits you, or you fit him, or that's a guy that works in this city. It's like, really, I don't think fans ultimately care if you're a rah-rah guy or if you're a quiet guy, as long as you're getting the job done. Like, I don't need somebody to come in and say, oh, Midwestern, Rust Belt City, Cleveland, hard hat, let's bring the lunch pail to work. That stuff worked on me when I was 21. None of that means anything to me where I am now in life, because I've just seen so many coaches and players defer to that. And I'm like, yeah, anybody can talk a big game and put out their marketing campaign, to start things out, to get on the right foot.
This fan base, I think, is in a different place, though. Or maybe I'm just in a different place. I'm not seeing it the way it used to be. Like, I there's a lot of things. I like it when Todd Monken speaks. He hasn't coached a football game yet. I'm predisposed.
We like the way that Freddie spoke at first, right?
Exactly. I'm predisposed to liking a new Browns football coach, But I'll tell you, and you guys know this, it's like, all right, you speak a big game. The last guy spoke a big game. You're an honest person. I can appreciate honesty. Are you going to be organized enough? Like, am I going to be able to defend your organization? Talking about pre-snap penalties, talking about game plans, talking about trying to put people in the right place. Did I, by December, hopefully we're not talking about firing the guy, but am I looking at guys at the back end of the roster going, that guy's grown. That guy's become a ball player. This guy's been better as time's gone on. Because there have been a couple of guys, and this is a feather in the cap of Jim Schwartz over the last 3 years. You look at some of those guys on defense, some of those guys have grown into roles. Some of those guys have found new leases on life. Devin Bush, for one. Mahmoud Diabate has grown into a role. Like, there's guys who have grown and actually developed to where fans trust them or trust them going in if somebody else is hurt. Like, that's one of the things that I can't answer now, but it's one of these experiences over the last how many years of my life as a Browns fan that's pained me. I don't want Todd Monken to come in behind the 8 ball with me and just go, yeah, you're just another football coach who says a couple of cuss words and we all, oh, whatever. But I want to give him a chance, but at the same time, I gotta hold you accountable for what this football team is going to be. And if it's more bad pre-snap penalties, if it's more disorganization, if it's just more of some of the same that got Kevin let go, you got to call it like it is.
What we're hoping
and I think
to
a lot
see,
of fans are waiting to see what they're going to see.
What we're hoping to
see what they think they're going to see.
Is that we expect some mistakes to be made. First time, inexperienced mistakes, that's normal. And, you have to accept some of that because there is going to be some learning on the job here.
Yes.
By everybody, even Todd Monken. He's never been a head coach in the NFL. He's done it in college, never been in the NFL as a head coach. So he's going to make some mistakes. But what it can't look like is 4 weeks in, we're all looking at each other going, well, this is the staff they assembled. This is who is available. Like, they can't look like that. Because then all of a sudden we're talking about, man, maybe we should have done everything we could to keep Jim Schwartz. Like, you don't want that to be the case 4 games in.
I want to hear from the most important coach of this entire group coming up in 5 minutes as well. Lima's ready for a fight with hockey fans.
on YouTube. Headline Sports News every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The most important coach that we haven't played yet, that's coming up here in just moments. However, hearing some of the responses to some of the conversations we had about Freddie and about Todd Monken, Adam on Twitter brings up, Freddie and Todd, they didn't see things eye to eye at all in 2019. If you're Todd Monken, and maybe I'll ask, Greg Williams was part of it in 2018. If you're Todd Monken, do you take any lessons and apply them to this situation from 2019 to 2026? Real quick. I don't want to turn into a great big thing. I just want to ask, because that was such an organizational mess.
We saw how it could go bad.
You're
quickly.
just like, we just don't do things like that. The only thing I think you would take it from is what he said in the one video clip when they first hired him, where they just showed him talking with, I think he was at a coach's clinic, or he might have been with the Ravens, talking about the 2019 Cleveland Browns. Like, we had a lot of talent. We showed how coaches can mess it up.
Yeah, and I love the fact that obviously he saw that, he was a part of that, he experienced that. Obviously didn't stomach it very well, didn't like it, and then at different levels, even though it's college, we're seeing more and more similarities between college and the NFL. And going to Georgia, and then also, let's face it, I hate to say it, but the Ravens, I know they haven't won a Super Bowl in this iteration, but that is a winning organization from top on down that you would put probably, top 5 in the NFL over that time. And he got to see that. And he got to see what worked and what coaching methodology worked. And it is not just one way to do this, obviously, but I loved the first time I heard him really talk about this stuff analytically and everything, how much he loved taking a little bit of from how they were doing it in Georgia, where the coach was one way, and the coach
Speaking of speeding tickets.
Totally opposite. Right, the coach was totally the opposite in Baltimore, and I love that he can kind of see what works and what doesn't.
Greg Williams coming up 9:20 this morning. Mary Kay coming up at 8:20. We played a couple of snippets from the new offensive coordinator Travis Schweitzer, the new defensive coordinator Mike Rutenberg. This is the most important coach. His name's Byron Storr. Hit it.
I get a feeling from the people I've talked to that the fan base here is pretty special. And I'm coming from Green Bay Packers, and the fans are pretty special there too. But this is a different feel for me. I think the dog pound now is pretty strong here. I can feel it already.
Great line, coach, but I'm pretty damn cynical because we got a guy who was supposed to be on the fast track to being an NFL head coach, and he really pissed me off during last season. So this is more important to me. Byron.
The building blocks are here. The foundation of players is here. For me, it's about building a really strong foundation of techniques and fundamentals. Like, we're going to master the basics. We're going to be fundamentally and technically sound, and then we'll build from there.
I got so agitated last season because he might have been, he might have been defending Kevin a little bit in his own way. I said it about Mike Tomlin. I said it about other coaches during the year as it went on. But when you're a special teams coordinator, you're getting the back half. You're getting a lot of guys who are not cracking the lineup yet. They either can't do it ever, or they're just not there yet. And what I couldn't stand is that, you've had really good special teams players in the past. Mike Ford Jr. was a hell of a special teams gunner for you. Winston Reed, now that he's healthy, and I think he actually spoke about him yesterday. Winston Reed is a guy who played really nice special teams for you, and I know we're getting nitty-gritty. But damn it, that's the difference between new head coaches. That's the difference in how you feel about this football team. When you lost to the Titans, when you lost to the Jets because of special teams mishaps. I'm not talking about missed field goals. I didn't blame Bubba Ventrone for missed field goals. Missed field goals happen.
Or the punter going south last year. What was that?
Or things like that. It's like you got to get it figured out. But again, maybe that's a different issue. But we'll find out more with Byron Storr. But when it comes to field goals, that's not it. But when they find things that you don't fix and they take advantage of you, that's a problem. and you only got the hand you're dealt. Let me make excuses. Let me say it. But when he's talking about the back end, I felt like he was throwing guys under the bus last year, and it just didn't need to be said by Bubba Ventrone. And I had a really bad feeling about that. Bubba Ventrone may very well be a head coach in this league at some point. He has a hell of a lot to learn. Because when things got tough, say whatever you want to about Kevin. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories about Kevin. When he had a chance to throw people under the bus in the media, he didn't do it. Okay? He didn't do it. And there's things that you can say to challenge guys. There's a difference because you were just saying these guys ain't good enough. In so many words, I felt Bubba Ventrone was saying these guys just ain't good enough. And you can't say that publicly. You could turn around. If you and I were coaches with the Browns, I could go in another room and I could close the door and look at you and Owen and go, guys, these guys ain't good enough.
And they do that all the time.
This is going to be a tough year.
That's real life.
We're going to have to deal with this. That's fair. And you're right. That happens in life all the time. Like, guys, this is rough. And we need another draft, and we need to look at free agency because the guys we got just ain't good enough. But you know what? You're going to have to find a way to get them from point A to point B and cover up their flaws as much as you can. Because losing to the Titans, who are a hapless franchise, losing to the Jets, who are a hapless franchise, and being a hapless franchise, you got to get it figured out. I can't just sit there and blame everything else and blame the culture and water and all the other things, curses and all that other crap. I couldn't stand that about Bubba Ventrone last year. Of all the things to rub you the wrong way, of all the fights that we have. And that's something I'm going to be paying attention to this year. Because I don't know how much better it's going to be this coming year. So I want to know what Byron Storr is saying every single week. And that's going to be nitty-gritty. That's going to be really wonky. I don't know how much time and shows I'm going to be able to dedicate to it because we're going to have big issue things. But damn it, I want to hear what this guy has to say week to week because if you're fixing these things, I think it'll be just fine. But I want to know if there's another breakdown, what this guy says about that breakdown.
I will tell you this: there are going to be some games like we say that Kevin Stefanski didn't say anything, didn't explain anything, and he was just going to keep everything in house, and that was his strategy, which sucked when the fans really wanted something. Like fans were cool with that at first when they won and went to the playoffs right away. Like, yeah, let the mastermind operate the way he wants to. Belichick gets to do it. But then when he started losing, it's like, all right, I don't want to hear the same thing every time. We're not really getting anything, and we're losing, and so I want off this. This is no fun anymore. I do think Todd Monken, very early on, just the way he is, I wouldn't be surprised if he does throw some guys publicly under the bus. I do think that's going to happen, but you got to do it strategically. There are certain guys that, can take that and will, Dennis Schroeder, I saw this last week. Like he had somebody on social media went after him, and he's like, "You're right. I didn't play well this game." Some guys will use that, and they'll be better for it. Other guys will be like, "I'm out.
Well, I think
I'm out on this coach.
Hey,
that is Bush League. I'm a professional. Like this different coaches have different styles. Monken is going to be, as much as we're going to love the press conferences because he's going to say stuff. There's a flip side of that.
I do think, but we have to make sure we know the difference. Like, if you're just saying you ain't got the horses, again, you could say it privately. And I'm if Bubba
I'm talking about holding guys accountable. And some guys press those buttons publicly and can pull it off.
Because there's a difference between, hey, so-and-so, Anthony Lima can give us more than what he's given us, then Anthony Lima ain't got it. I think that there's a difference there. I think you know the difference, but I think we have to specify that. All right, you're ready to go toe-to-toe with hockey fans. It's his last show of the week. He's getting ready for marathon season down in Naples, Florida, or wherever the hell you're going. Sarasota?
Yes, Sarasota.
Okay. He's going to spring training, everybody.
After his wife.
Yeah, right.
He's going to Sarasota. She is running a half marathon.
Which isn't even why we went.
One thing in its own, yeah.
That was booked after.
She just finds half marathons. She goes towards exercise. Go ahead and get it off your chest about the NBA.
You said hockey fan. It's all fans. It's all the fans.
I think hockey fans are very defensive over their postseason.
But I think everybody is, right? Like football fans think their postseason's the best. Baseball fans think their postseason's the best, and hockey fans say their postseason's the best.
I'm sorry, I keep jumping in. Football fans, I think, just brag about the ratings. I think there's a lot. I think there's a couple of wild card games every year that's just like, oh boy, this sucks. This is
these
not
teams
good
don't even belong in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is just this is mucked up and bad. Yeah, continue.
So I've really had this thought, especially when I see how many people are bagging on the NBA for a third of the league is tanking, and so many of these regular season games don't matter. And I'm like, well, yeah, there's a trade-off. All these sports have certain trade-offs of the things that are good that make them unique or awesome, and the things that make the sport suck. Like I'm telling you, 64 quarterbacks last year in the NFL, I think that sucks. I think there were a lot of games that I'm totally tuned out in the last 3 weeks of the league. No one cares because they just go gamble on the games that matter, or they gamble on those games anyway, and they still have their fantasy teams. Like, I think it sucks. Like, I'm not in that stuff. I'm not really wagering on all that stuff. I'm not playing daily fantasy. So that stuff doesn't matter to me, and I can tune out a game and just move on to something else. We talk about baseball all the time, how amazing their postseason is. It's also so short. There's so few games. And I started looking at it. I'm like, why do I love and why have I had this feel with the NBA, not just my adult life, like going back to my childhood, on why I could tell you what the trade-off is that, yeah, regular season NBA, I still watch. Like last night I was watching the Knicks in Oklahoma City, and I loved it. It was a close game down the stretch, and I'm starting to look at the Knicks, like what can we attack, what's going to be applicable. But I'm a basketball fan. I'm a diehard basketball fan, so I know that's not going to be for maybe Owen. Owen's not going to be as dialed in to that last night. So all these sports have their pitfalls, but have their awesome moments. And I'm telling you, I think the NBA playoffs, it's a trade-off worth it, especially when you got a team like the Cavs that we're looking to make a serious run. That the NBA playoffs are so long and there's so many games, and I am dialed in every night, that to me, it's okay that these regular season games aren't life or death, because the playoffs are going to be amazing this year in the NBA.
Playoffs? You think it's the best playoffs?
I do. And the reason why, to me, is quite simple. If you're a diehard sports fan, what do you want? You want games that matter, and you want them to keep coming. And you want to have something to talk about every day. And the NFL, for all that we talk about life and death playoffs, 13 playoff games. That's all you get. And
he wrote them down.
And 7 days. You have 7 days that there are playoff games. Think about how few that is, right? Okay, baseball, awesome postseason. 47 games there were last year. 47 games over 27 days of actual games played.
Charts Lima coming out here.
NBA, 90 games over 50 days. And you remember TNT used to promote, like, this is going to be a game on every night. And there might be a couple days where there's not. I think it is awesome. And it sends me back to my childhood when you would see NBA on NBC. They would show the gauntlet that the Bulls, every series, he went up Dominique Wilkins in round 1, Stacey Augmon, right? Each and every series. Then it was the Cavs in round 2. Here they are, Craig Elo, Mark Price, Brad Daugherty. And that sticks with me. And going through the LeBron runs the way we did, how awesome was it? Now, we dominated for 4 straight years in the second iteration. But how awesome were the playoffs every night? Going to bars, seeing the TVs on, people having a blast. And there's just so many more games, so many more nights, and there's so much more to talk about. NFL playoffs, I mean, there's 13 games.
I know
That's nothing.
I know you're talking in a broad sense of your NBA playoffs. Just a couple of holes to poke, right?
Yeah.
My biggest problem there is sometimes it's a night off. Some nights it's 2 nights off, right? If I'm paying attention to a specific series, it's very hard to track that, like when they're going to play again, right? So sometimes they play on a Sunday and then they don't play again until Wednesday. Sometimes they play Wednesday and then again it's on Friday. And you have to really you do have to be locked into the NBA playoffs to follow exactly what's going on with the NBA playoffs, because there might be snow on the ground when the NBA playoffs
second week of April, and
then
they play till the second week of June.
You are definitely in shorts and t-shirts by the time that this thing ends.
So that's why
seasons change. That's how long the playoffs are.
I'm a football guy. I'm not going to sit there and brag about the ratings.
And yet they might only play 16 games.
Baseball,
if they win it, right?
Baseball's fun.
Not on James Harden's watch. Let's go.
Baseball to me is fun because you go from moments of non-action to moments of anticipation, and it flips right from the regular season to the postseason. But I think what you're bringing up is the same reason why hockey fans are so defensive over their postseason and say that their postseason is the best, because there's an intense following towards whatever team that you're a fan of. I got to admit, I've always just gone with the flow. I know about the stories of guys leaving it all out there on the ice. I've just always assumed that hockey was the best playoffs, because I've just heard from everybody that hockey was the best playoffs.
Well, everybody always says that, but there literally is no number to back it up. because everybody says it. Even all the national radio hosts.
But it's a feeling, I'd have to say.
Nothing like hockey
Every
playoffs.
series goes 7 games.
And then nobody watches. So everybody's lying. If every casual's like, I love it. They might have seen some highlights and then, oh, it's game 7. Okay, I'm going to watch now. But you can't say it's the best if you don't watch it. And the numbers are in. Like the NBA gets 6 times the ratings of the hockey playoffs. Like, come on.
Remember, baseball did beat the NBA this year.
Baseball was awesome last year.
And I think
I loved it.
I think that what makes playoffs the best is how much of your audience isn't a diehard sports fan. Baseball, it's going to consistently get lower ratings than the NBA, but their playoffs are higher because people know MLB owns October. It just does in the 4 major sports. MLB
Is that
owns
why
October.
they don't play during Sunday Night Football?
Well, it doesn't own the NFL.
No, it doesn't.
Or even college football.
No, but of the big 4, people are like, yes, this is playoff baseball. This is what you're going to watch. This is the playoffs. This is what you're going to watch. And they're going to watch
We
it
own
over the
October.
NBA.
We're actually third.
Nobody even cares about the NBA playoffs till the second round. Come on.
Well,
I
do you
agree
really
with
want to
John.
watch
Unless your
Detroit
team's
play
in
a
it,
play-in?
I actually agree with
Yeah,
John about
casual
that.
fans don't. But
I agree with John
You're
about
talking to a diehard. Like and obviously,
Well, then find me a diehard hockey
I
fan.
watch all the
It's the
NFL. I watch all the NFL playoffs too.
There's not as many games. Of course you watch all the NFL playoffs.
Right. Well,
I even turn on games that I have no interest in the NFL. That doesn't happen for the other sports.
Well, the thing about the NFL that I've always said is that the level of play doesn't really change come playoff time.
Right.
The weather does. So the game looks different depending on
But
if
that's
it's
what's
outside
made
or
the
not.
season and the 16-game schedule made it really special because every game was, from week 10 on, you're in the playoffs basically. Once we get to this 20-game
If you have a guy,
going to go to.
If you have a guy who's not already at work right now, like we get up very early, okay? So when the Cavs aren't playing in the postseason, I use that as a chance to catch up, all right? Like it's like, all right, I was up till 11:30 last night with all the post-game stuff. Folks, I'm going to bed. Like, that's the thing. But I think for a regular fan, are they seeking out Hawks, Hornets, whatever?
No, yeah.
Okay, so that, I think, is part of it, is that, casuals like me, when it comes to hockey, I just hear that hockey's the best, and then I do tune in for the Stanley Cup final, and I just assume that I've been missing out on something incredible. Because it always ends up being incredible.
True. I've done it
and
too.
there's a lot of romanticism about
But what you
There's
don't
way
do,
more aura.
But what you don't do the following year is go back and watch all of it and learn your lesson. You still just parachute in when the games matter and there's a deciding game.
Coming up at 8:22, Mary Kay Cabot going to join us on the show. What on earth are we going to do about Miles? And coming up in 5 minutes, Lou Holtz walked so Lane Kiffin can run on the Fan. Window Nation.
happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0, no one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him, how he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Little bit of sad news to start about last night. Lou Holtz passed away at the age of 89 yesterday, former Notre Dame coach. He's a legend. But I think he's way more well-known for his antics, just being a guy, just talking about his speeches. So this is Lou Holtz, the coach, and I think this perfectly embodies what he is and what a football coach could be.
Thing to do isn't to punch him, isn't to talk to him. There's only one way you get respect, and that's by looking somebody in the eye for 60 minutes. Go out there, hitch up your trousers and say, hey, baby, here I am now. Let me see you run through me now. Let me see you show some disrespect for me when I'm nose on your nose. Let me see what you think of me now that my face is to you. We talk about respect. We're talking about respect around the country. There's one thing that we want more than anything else, and that's respect.
People don't talk this way anymore. We need to throw back the language and get guys fired up like this.
Have you heard? Why am I drawing a blank on the who the hell's the head coach of Oregon?
Oh, Dan Lanning.
Dan Lanning has cut some promos.
Dan Lanning talking about Deion when they played Colorado.
Not just Deion, man. You see some of the things he says in the post game and stuff.
Great coach. Nick Saban coaching tree. Love him.
So I bet most people would think, oh, Lima's a Buckeye. Didn't like what happened with Ryan Day and the war of words.
I know what you said about him. I know what you said about him at that time.
And I can tell you that I have always had an affinity for Lou Holtz. Anytime I saw him on TV.
Didn't you call him a crazy old man?
Didn't I?
I thought you did.
No. I took his side of the Ryan. I thought the Ryan Day stuff was ridiculous.
That was when he wanted Ryan Day fired.
I thought it was beneath. I thought it was beneath Ryan Day.
That's right. That's right.
But I've always had an affinity for Lou Holtz, and I mean, I vividly remember Holtz in the neck brace in '95 against Ohio State. But always when that guy was on TV, I was paying attention. I know there were people that would dump on it. I love that segment with Mark May. You
judge?
Talked about yes.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was great.
I thought it was great.
I love Lou Holtz because when's the last time Lou Holtz coached? 2004 in South Carolina. They finished 6-5. Well, his last game was the Palmetto Bowl, right? With the whole fight. Yeah. Wasn't that what it was? Lou Holtz last games in 2004. He had Ryan Day so worked into a shoot. Ryan Day had to look right into the camera after they beat Notre Dame, and that was all on Lou Holtz. I'm like, man, this is great. Lou Holtz, so much fun. I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss the speeches, the words. I saw that Chris Vanini posted up the newspaper magic trick, which blew my doors off. Unbelievable. Some of the other quotes, man, he's great. I'm gonna miss Lou Holtz. That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 89. That's a natural order of things, but I'm gonna miss Lou Holtz.
Yeah, there's just not a lot of guys like that. Still coaching, still saying the things that he said. And look, there was controversy, when he was coaching Notre Dame and they were winning. There's a whole book about it, Under the Tarnished Dome. And as a Buckeye, that was required reading material because the Notre Dame people would always talk about how holier than thou they were. And I'm like,
listen to you.
You remember what you guys were doing with some of your recruits at Notre Dame when Lou was there?
Hey, you still want to go on that trip with me this fall?
Yeah, I would love to go.
Yeah, there you go.
Trent McDuffie traded to the Rams for a first-round pick. Sean McVay's had just one first-round pick in his entire tenure.
And they win.
Yeah.
Bonkers.
So the Browns have two first-round picks. You see the Rams have traded first for Stafford and Jalen Ramsey and Aqib Talib and Brandon Cooks. And not a first for Von Miller, but they traded picks for Von Miller. The Browns have 2 firsts and 9 picks in this draft. Does this make you more willing to trade these picks for players?
Do I have Les Snead as a general manager? No. Then no.
Well, and you're also not trying to win this year.
Nope.
We keep hearing about transition year. I know the afternoon show has been like, well, how many transition years do you get? You go from one transition year to the next transition year?
I feel so trigger shy about it because the last time they traded a first-round pick for a player, that was Deshaun Watson.
I remember that.
I don't want to do that.
I remember
I don't want to do that anymore.
Totally agree.
Looking back, you take away the outside off-the-field aspect of Deshaun Watson. It made sense to do. It made sense to do at the time.
It did make sense to do at the time, and then we watched him play football.
I didn't think it made sense to do at the time.
I didn't play football.
I agree with Owen. I didn't think it made sense to do at the time. I thought that they would bring in.
No, from football. What John's saying is from football portion. I thought Anthony and I were in that same.
What did I admit?
Right?
You have admitted since that you thought he was an upgrade over Baker. You still wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, but I didn't think
people forget that he was objectively considered better than Baker
only.
by everybody.
Football only.
Yes, but
except Cleveland fans.
But with all the other things, I did not want to make the trade, and it wasn't just
you were adamant. Yep.
Morals be damned, all whatever. Yep. It wasn't even just that. It was like, hey guys, it's a lot to give up. It's a really good football team. There's going to be moves that have to be made. Like, let's not get involved in this business. We don't even know if he's going to be suspended, for how long he's going to be suspended. Why are we doing this? Why can't we just go back to the table and go, hey, Baker, you're an emotional guy. Maybe things got a little bit out of whack. Let's get back to the table here and let's work some things out. All right, bring in a veteran. You tried to go for the gusto. You couldn't do it. No, everybody just freaked out. He freaked out. Browns freaked out. And then we got Deshaun Watson, and we're still paying the fiddler for it 5 years later. To the point where I'm getting Kyler Murray tweets because people just don't want to see Deshaun Watson. Yeah, that's why I don't want to be trading away first-round picks, John. A lot of bad feelings you're going to see coming out from my history as a Browns fan here, buddy. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, speaking of Kyler Murray, the Oakland Athletics, well, I guess they're just called the Athletics now, they still own his rights in baseball. He's the only guy to ever be drafted in the first round in football and in baseball. There's no way he goes back. Can you imagine?
Why can't he go back to baseball?
He's not going to go back. Would you think that Kyler Murray would go back to sit on the bus in single A?
Does he get paid? He's owed 38, 36. Does he still get paid if he's not an active NFL player?
Yeah, they owe him $38 million, right?
Well, if his is guaranteed,
then,
which...
Ladies and gentlemen, the Modesto Nuts, here I come.
You think that
the
Kyler
Inland
Murray,
Empire 66ers, here I come.
He's going to sit on a minor league baseball bus and drive across the country making 15 cents on the
Michael Jordan did it.
For $30-something million? Does he still get his money? Hold on. Does he still get his money? As long as he gets his money from the Arizona Cardinals, hell yeah. I get to spend a year not getting chased around by Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson. I get to go try to hit. Cut fastballs are hard to hit. Baseball is not an easy sport.
He hasn't played baseball since he was his
I don't give a
junior
damn.
Of college.
Why would he be running away from Myles Garrett when they're teammates? I don't understand that.
He's playing for. That's a great point. He's playing for the A's. You think the A's wouldn't call him up?
No. Not right away.
The A's wouldn't call him
up? Not right
up?
away.
He'd be up by July.
I'll say this. Well,
he'd be up by
July.
July.
Very least to sell
baseball
tickets.
in 7 years.
I'll tell you what would be cool,
well, why
though.
didn't the White Sox bring up Jordan?
We've had so few guys over the last, in my lifetime, that have done two sports. So if you want to change your legacy, like right now, he's considered can I say bust, number one overall
He got
pick?
a contract.
He did get a contract.
He didn't live up to the hype. You can say that.
He didn't live up to the hype. That's for sure. But he's been an average quarterback throughout his career. We've been debating that to death over the last day. But what's his legacy? That's nothing. You're just like everybody else that didn't cut it out as a quarterback or a first overall pick in the NFL. There's plenty of guys. But if you go play baseball and you get to the show, how many guys in our lifetime, Kenny?
It was an exhibition game. It wasn't a regular
Brian
season
Jordan,
MLB game.
Deion Sanders.
Ron Gant.
Bo Jackson.
But there's so few guys that this would be a way to truly carve your name into history, sports history.
You just said he was a ninth overall pick, right?
In baseball, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But he hasn't played in 7 years.
John, you said that 3 times.
Get to the play-in.
I
There's
know
only
he
one
hasn't
way
played
to
in a long
change that.
time, but he's still in his 20s. He can't go back. If you're still getting your $30+ million, what's the point of going to one of these other places, getting chased around, getting hurt again? You're 5'9", go play baseball. Dustin Pedroia made a fine living as a 5'9" middle infielder. What's the problem with that, John? You want to go back to the NFL?
I love Dustin Pedroia. He's my favorite player, actually.
He is.
Yeah, I love Dustin Pedroia.
Dipped.
But Kyler Murray, after spending 7 years in the NFL, even if he gets paid the veteran minimum, what is it, $1.5 million? Why would you go down to the minors to make no money traveling on
Because I'm making a lot of money already. I'm making a lot of money already.
No, you're not going to go travel on tour buses with guys who are 19.
All right, 216-474-0092. If you were Kyler Murray, what would you do? Would you keep playing football? Keep getting chased around by some of the best out there? End up with some team that, hey, it might be a good football situation, might not. You imagine having an offensive line like the Cleveland Browns? Signing up for that? Running around all over the place? Or, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna 2-1 hole right now. Let's see where we're at on this pitch. I think I'd rather do the other thing if I were Kyler Murray and I was still getting paid by the Arizona Cardinals. I want to know, 216-474-0092. Is John right? Ken Carman, it is a football town. You might have a lot of people agreeing with you. John Wright, Ken Carman, Toastmaster General, and another football player. We got Cleveland on Cleveland crime coming up here, where there's another football player who might be knocking the block off a Cleveland quote-unquote legend on the Fan.
This is
quarterback isn't on the roster right now. I think there's a chance the starting quarterback, Deshaun Watson. They view this the same way they viewed last year. It's sort of a transitional year for them. And the good news is on the other end of it, you've got, in 2027, a draft that looks like it's going to be full of quarterbacks.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
I got into it, John, so much. I don't know. Where do you guys stand on it? Should Kyler Murray go back to baseball or should he stick with football?
Well, I was living in a world where I was hoping he could do both.
No. You got to pick one. Pick one.
No, I'm saying.
I'm not Tim McCarver over here, but pick one.
Him doing both would add to his legacy.
Well, he's done one.
Mm-hmm.
He's been paid a lot in one. Just knock it off with the one and go to the other. You're 28? 28?
Yeah, 28.
Got plenty of time.
Yeah, if I was Kyler, I would just play football, but Owen would like to see him go to baseball.
Now, if you were Kyler, why would you just play football?
Because it seems like he's still the best quarterback option of the free agent / other than the Raiders and Fernando Mendoza. Like, if you're the Raiders, you take Fernando Mendoza over signing Kyler Murray in free agency.
So, he's also not Tim Tebow. Kyler Murray still has an opportunity to play in the NFL. Tim Tebow was done.
That's what I was getting at.
Okay. Counterpoint. This is all in here. I might just have John back in here, but, whatever. John, if you want to come in here, because we got calls here. So if you want to come back in here and fight it out, come on back in here and fight it out, buddy. Counterpoint. Now, I will admit wholeheartedly, I thought Kyler Murray should have played baseball. Coming out. Was wrong. Kyler Murray now has made $170 where's John? Why ain't he coming? Kyler Murray has made now $170 million in career earnings, according to AI. And AI never lies to you. Oh, they can't see my eyes. That's right. I rolled my eyes. All right. According to the internet, he's made $170 million. He's made a boatload of cash. He's 28. He's 28 years old. You still got plenty of time. You could go knock it out in the bushes for a year. It's the A's. They need any sort of good publicity they can get. You don't think that the A's would put him on the field at some point? Because he was a 9th overall pick. Baseball is a hard sport.
Football, though. It's not football.
That's not the argument. It's not football. I'm making an argument for him to play baseball.
The 9th overall pick doesn't really mean as much in baseball at all as it means in football.
Why wouldn't it mean as much in baseball? Do you see what they're writing about Travis Bazzana? Because just because he hasn't been called up last year as the number 1 overall pick in baseball?
The draft is such a crapshoot in baseball. You can't gauge the number 1 pick in baseball like you can with Kyler Murray in football.
So they have the number 1 overall pick in baseball, and then everything else is just this wild crapshoot, and nobody knows what they're doing.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. That's why Jacob deGrom was 10-plus rounds in.
So my friend Nick, who's been a scout in Major League Baseball for 30 years and has a World Series ring, he doesn't know what he's doing?
There are
Nick
number
Venuto
1
doesn't know what he's doing.
Nick Venuto.
There are number 1 overall picks.
You just got Venuto.
There are number 1 overall picks in baseball that will never play in a major league game.
Son,
will never play in a major league game.
He just got Venuto'd. The other thing, it doesn't matter about him playing in a major league game. I think he would because he's in the A's. But again, just say it. I pointed out. What's the risk of injury right now? You're 28 years old. You're still relatively healthy. You've had a bunch of injuries in the NFL. Now there's guys like Robin Ventura who got horrifically hurt in spring training before and then got beat up by
horrifically hurt by Nolan Ryan's fist, too.
Remember, they cut in on that night that happened. My dad's standing there in the kitchen. He's got a cigarette and goes, "What the F?" He couldn't believe it.
What's the average age of when a guy actually starts his baseball career?
It used to be around 27, 28.
Right, no.
It's earlier now.
25, 24?
It's 24, 25 for guys coming out of college. If you're a big name, if you're a big high school guy, maybe you're 20, 21, but a lot of guys are 26, 27.
Right, so that is pretty crazy to think about. Like, we're talking about going, man, in football, he's 28, he's taking these hits. I don't know. Is he starting to lose some of the athleticism? Baseball, step right up. You're ready to go. He is the thick of it.
If he played for if he were drafted by any other, because they still have his rights.
Yeah.
And the A's said that he's the reason this is a story. The A's said he's more than welcome to come on in and work out with our team and everything else. If he was with a serious organization, if he was even with the Guardians, say the Guardians drafted him number 9 overall, that'd be a hell of a thing. Would you want him to come play for the Guardians? The Guardians are a serious organization. So I wouldn't be like, yeah, he'd be up by July's a little early, all right?
Nobody be talking about how short he is. He would tower over Jose Ramirez.
Jose's like 5'10".
Is he
5'8"?
Is he?
Jose's 5'8".
Oh, when have you been standing next to him, John?
I know.
Nick Venuto stood next to him. Boom!
That's my
you
weird.
Just got
That's my
Venuto.
weird savant thing. I know people's heights. It's my weird savant.
That's your skill?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know this.
Wait a minute.
John's actually going to be at the
Like celebrities wise, I know
he's going to be
how
in
tall people
Canfield this year at the fair, barking.
Can you do weights, or is your
can't do
superpower
weights.
limited
I
to just
can't
height?
do weights.
Well, no,
You can
you can
guess
just turn them on their
people's
side.
heights. You can guess people's heights?
Like if you give me a celebrity, I can probably tell you how tall they are.
Do we have a
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is 5'7".
Can we
Brad
please
Pitt.
Brad Pitt's 6'1".
look it up?
I'm not getting in this. No, this is the stupidest thing we've done on this show. We do a
RuPaul.
lot of shit. We do a lot of stupid
RuPaul?
Yeah, RuPaul.
Oh my God, my girlfriend's gonna freak out.
How tall
when
did you
said
say
RuPaul.
Tom Cruise was?
Tom Cruise is 5'7".
Oh, hold on.
Are you going to get his combine height?
Okay, wrong about Brad Pitt. You said he was 6'1". He is 5'11".
Tom Cruise is definitely 5'7".
Tom Cruise is 5'7". He is right about that. Is it just celebrities? Is it just the Hollywood elite, or can you do regular people? Because I think that this is a fantastic parlor trick if he can do it.
You want me to size you up and guess how tall you
well,
are?
first off, everybody lies about their height, or everybody argues about each other's height. The second thing is, if we could get a golf outing going here or something, I'm just going to post him up at the 8th hole, and it's just, has John guessed your height?
Hey, throw down 20
I think
bucks.
it would be amazing. Throw down 20 bucks. It would be amazing.
We're taking away the hole-in-one challenge, and we're just doing...
No, you can. There's 18 holes. I can have a hole-in-one challenge, but one of them is going to be John guesses your height.
This is one of the holes.
We end up losing our ass on the golf outing because John is getting nobody's heights right. Oh, no, I'm a savant. Keith has to take him off halfway through the day.
Jeff Miller says, you lost us $5,000 again. Why did we do this a third straight year?
Ken, we got to let you go. Why? We can't afford you anymore because your little special friend here lost our ass on the golf outing guessing people's
He
heights.
couldn't even get the state championship wrestler who has his weight listed.
My buddy Nick Venuto would call me and go, I got the World Series ring. I told you couldn't guess these guys' heights. Brian in Euclid, Chicago Murray.
Guess his height. Right now, guess his height.
Brian.
Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear? You just said your height, Brian. Don't give away your height. Damn it! All right. Well, can Kyler Murray go back to baseball?
Yes.
Should he?
Hundreds of millions. Yes, he should. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars. His body is only going to be able to do professional sports for a very short window. The young Thundercats think they know everything, Ken. They don't really know nothing. That's what the problem is.
Brian, he's going to be in the minors for at least a year and a half. Like this isn't football. This isn't basketball. This is baseball. It's the most technically difficult sport in the country, in the world. The hardest thing to do in sports is hit a round ball with a round bat squarely, Brian. And Kyler Murray hasn't done that in 7 years. I know I've said it a bunch of times, but it's true.
If he signs a 2-year contract, there's a very good possibility he won't be healthy enough to pursue any of his childhood baseball dreams that he always thought he was going to do.
Yeah. You don't want him being an old-ass man like Brian just called me.
The Kyler Murray, at most, in Major League Baseball, will make $10 million a year. At most. Kyler Murray in football could make, if he plays this year with the Browns or any other team and has a good year, Kyler Murray could get $30 million next year. He's not going to get ever will get $30 million in Major League Baseball.
Oh, he could get $30 million in Major League Baseball.
He could,
might take a couple of
in
years.
A season? For 1 year. AAV, $30 million. Kyler Murray will never get that.
He can't.
No.
It's an impossibility.
You guys were talking about Stephen Kwan getting $30 million, and
Kyler
that was
Murray
asinine.
at age 30?
Like Kyler Murray is not going to be able to do what Stephen Kwan
What
did.
can Malik Willis get then?
Malik Willis can get at least $57 million playing baseball.
He showed up in 2 innings. That's it. That's all they saw. $50 million player.
He pinch hit. $100 million contract. Do it
Boom,
now.
sold.
Lou in North Railton. Hello.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Doing well, Lou. Go right on ahead.
Hey, I already talked to Johnny Philly. I told him he's out of his mind. I would take $38 million outright on any bus, talk to any 18, 17-year-old, whatever I got to do.
Lou, I don't think you should be talking to 17-year-olds.
Whoa, 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 oh, don't accuse Lou.
Reckless speculation.
Hey, Lou's been a caller in this station since
Judas Priest.
Price of fish.
Oh my God. Oh boy. But no.
I just can't say anything.
Listen. Casey Blake was 28, 29 years old when he.
Okay,
when he
Jim
made
Morris was 38. So?
And not a day went by, Les Levine didn't rip Casey Blake.
Hey, how long did Casey Blake last? He signed
too long. Way too long, Lou. The best thing about
contract.
Casey Blake in Cleveland was his walk-up music. 4-leaf clover was great. And then we'd strike out on 3 pitches like, man, he really doesn't deserve that walk-up music. You know damn well, Lou. Thank you very much for the call. Hey, you better respect Lou, by the way.
Yeah, come on.
That's right.
You were in your daddy's underwear when he started calling this damn station, son.
He doesn't respect Lou, doesn't respect Venuto.
Yeah, you're going to get Venuto'd again.
Boy, what else do you guys make fun of me for saying? I want to know that. I want to know. I can't say anything anymore. You guys just make fun of me all day about what I say on the air, don't you? You guys think you're funny? You and your jokes
I
together?
don't think I'm funny. I think I'm the cat's ass.
Mary Kay Cabot. She's coming up in 5 minutes. She is the cat's ass of Browns beat reporters.
She's got to pay the piper.
Could we? Fiddler. It's the fiddler. Let's get the nose up on this thing, shall we?
That's a different show.
All right, we're going to ask Mary Kay about Kyler Murray. We're going to get 2 birds stoned at once, thank you. We're going to ask Mary Kay about Kyler Murray playing baseball or playing for the Browns, and could we really take, I'm serious about this, could we really take Ty Simpson 6 overall? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, the wonderful Mary Kay in 5 minutes. 1 hour from now, Greg Williams on The Fan.
All right, real estate.
filtered right to your phone during this offseason by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Myles Garrett speeding. Boo. New defensive coordinator sounds like fun. Yay! Still don't have an offensive line. Boo. Did trade for a pretty good one. Yay! Quarterback at 6. Boo. Ty Simpson at 6. Ooh. Monroe Freeling at 6. Yay! He does play at Georgia. Ooh. Unless you're the Ohio State Highway Patrol, then you're about to make a little bit of extra money. Yay! All right, Mary Kay Cabot joins us right now on the Make It Right Call Colorado Hotline. Hello.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
What an interesting welcome I gave to you there. Sorry, Mary Kay. All right, this is we had to start the show with it today. So people are going, well, what are you talking about? And I'm like, guys, I'm as annoyed talking about it as you are hearing about it, because it's a conversation that never goes anywhere. We've had to talk about some very serious things with the Cleveland Browns. Speeding obviously can be serious, and it sucks, Mary Kay, because it's like, all right, if something terrible happens, really, really, really terrible. I know he rolled his car already once, but if something like tragic happens, us not taking it seriously or saying whatever to it is like the first audio they play in the documentary. So 94 and a 70. All right. Let's do it again. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that he really hasn't learned his lesson yet, and I hope that he does. I hope that it doesn't take a tragedy to make him actually slow down, because he vowed to slow down after he flipped the Porsche, and now this is his second speeding ticket since then. So I hope he does actually slow down or get a driver before something bad happens to someone, himself or someone else.
Mary Kay, we had sound from last year from Kevin Stefanski about this. Obviously, the Browns have always been questioned about it, when this stuff would go public, and obviously they know more about behind the scenes to some of this stuff. But how much does the organization really care? Is he going to get a speech at all from the new Browns head coach, Todd Monken?
Well, I think he should. I really do think that he should, because once again, he's really playing with fire here, and he's escaped anything really bad to this point. But if you continue to do it over and over again, there could be that chance where someone's trying to get on a highway and, and something happens, or there's a new driver, or there's an older driver, or just anything. So I really think that that he should really try as hard as he can to live up to his vow to be safe on the roads here. And it actually surprises me that you can continue to have a driver's license when you have 9 speeding tickets at such high speeds. I don't know how you can do that. But anyways, I wish that he would put an end to these for now. There will be a time where he can go satisfy that need for speed. But right now on the streets of Cleveland is probably not the time or place for that.
Mary Kay Cabot joining us on the show. Yes, sorry, Mary Kay. We just saw something on SportsCenter that kind of threw us off right there for a moment. All right. And that's the weird thing about it. It's like, okay, we'll say something to him. That's it. You hope you're a little bit more responsible. It's the way she goes. Hate to be that way, but it's honestly the truth of everything. All right, Kyler Murray, the possibilities of him coming to Cleveland are...
Well, I don't know really what the possibilities are, but if I were the Cleveland Browns, I would be kicking the tires on Kyler Murray. I would be checking into it. I would be reaching out to his agent. I don't know if they have done that yet or not, but I would certainly be doing that. I would not be surprised if they have or will, because that's what you do. When you say you're leaving no stone unturned in your quest to find your starting quarterback, and a Pro Bowler like that becomes available, or a former Pro Bowler becomes available, then you do go out and you check into it. So that's what I would be doing. And if you can get him at a bargain basement price, why not take a flyer on him? He might be someone who could come in here and help you, because even though you're intrigued and excited about what Deshaun Watson brings to the table, no one really knows what he's going to be able to do so far removed from a full season of starting. And then Shedeur Sanders has shown a ton of promise, and as Todd Monken has stated, has elite ability and elite playmaking ability. But Kyler Murray has done it more recently than them. He's had some injuries, but he's had some really nice seasons. And when you surround a guy like that with a really good defense, a good running game, and some talent, who knows what he might be able to do.
Mary Kay with us on the show. Well, could Miles, this is a weird question, piggybacking off the previous commentary here, but could Miles show some leadership in terms of going out and getting him? I mean, they do seem to be good buddies, good friends. Could Miles persuade him to come to Cleveland? Would that be something that they'd want to do?
Well, if they want him, I mean, you would use everything that you can to get a player like that here if you really want him that much. I haven't been able to determine yet what their feelings are or what their thoughts on it, because I think it will come down to a couple of different things, of course, as it always does, money and opportunity. He's not going to come somewhere unless he has an opportunity to start, and not just an opportunity, but some pretty good assurances that he's going to start, and you might have to back that up with the money. So it comes down to those things, and there will be plenty of teams, I think, that will be interested in him, especially because of the economics of it all. So, you've got to provide him with some assurances that you're going to be able to come in here and get a starting job.
Were you able to get any kind of a sense, Mary Kay, when all was said and done with your reporting in Indy about how people feel about this quarterback room and how aggressive ultimately they're really going to be?
Well, I came away from Indy thinking that the Browns were pretty content, and I don't know if that's exactly the right word, but that they were pretty ready to go forward with Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders and see what they could do with those two guys in a competition, and then which one of those could emerge from that and what that player can do this season. Because they don't have a lot of money to spend on another quarterback, and there just are not a lot of really good quarterbacks, veteran or rookie, that they can have access to this season. So I came away thinking that they probably were going to march forward with what they have in the room. But once again, anything can change on a dime when we get to this point in the NFL season. With the league year about to open next week. Last year at this time, not last year, in 2022 at this time, we had no idea that Deshaun Watson was going to be landing on the doorstep. At that time, they were prepared. They were looking around, but they were also prepared to go forward with Baker Mayfield. And then things changed, and they changed drastically. And even the Browns were surprised that Deshaun Watson was going to come here and that happened that way. So you can never really predict how things are going to go until all the pieces and parts start moving and the deals start happening.
Mary Kay with us on the show. So at number 6, what do you think they're going to do?
Well, I do think that Andrew, if he can find a way to trade back, I think he would probably like to do that. I think he is 100% open to that. I've written that. And if he can pick up some extra assets in 2027, when there should be a more robust quarterback class coming out, I think he would like to be once again poised to be in those sweepstakes. So I do think that they will explore trades down, and look what happened to the last one. I mean, that was an excellent, amazing trade for them, and it isn't even over yet because they have the number 24 pick this year from that trade. So I do think that he's going to try to do that again. Maybe he won't be able to get that kind of a trade, that kind of a payout, because that was, of course, the number 2 overall pick. But I still think that that's probably something that they would like to do. If not, then I think you can be looking at an offensive lineman there or a receiver there. But I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew also goes for a defensive player there, only because sometimes he zigs when we think he's going to zag, and you can never really predict exactly what he's going to do in the draft in a situation like that.
Yeah, and we've proven we're so successful doing that. Mary Kay Cabot joining us here on the show. All right, so I asked that question because I heard you on with Baskin and Phelps on Tuesday. Ty Simpson would be under consideration in number 6, Mary Kay?
Well, Ty Simpson is a quarterback that they're looking at in wherever they could get him. You don't necessarily know where a quarterback's market is going to land until you get into the draft. So if he starts to fall, he's somebody that's under consideration. He's somebody that they've talked to. He's somebody that Ty Simpson's dad, Jason, knows Todd. I doubt they will end up with him because they probably wouldn't take him at number 6 overall. That would be either a trade back situation or it would be 24, 39. He's somebody that they are looking at. But no, I don't think it's realistic that they would take him at number 6.
Oh, thank goodness. We're just not the place for him, and he's not the quarterback for us. I'm sorry, Mary Kay. Does it sound like, I know you don't listen to a lot of the station. I'm sorry, Tone. Do I sound like I'm just afraid of every quarterback?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you?
I'm sorry. I want you to be my therapist. Does it sound like I'm just afraid of every quarterback right now?
Maybe, yes. Maybe you are a little bit afraid. I, on the other hand, am open to taking a bunch of swings at the plate and trying a bunch of different things until you finally hit on one. So no, I'm not afraid. I don't live in my fears there, Ken. I don't do that.
Okay. Thank you.
Mary Kay, the draft, so many people are talking about trading down. Of course, you got to actually find another team willing to give up that capital in a draft where people seem to be just okay staying where they are. So given all of that, do you think there are going to be any fireworks when it comes to the Browns, or do you anticipate them just going O-line at 6 and then with that second pick just taking the receiver as is?
I think there are enough really good players at the top of the draft that some team will be willing to come up and trade up for an Arvell Reese or a Caleb Downs or one of the quarterbacks or, one of the receivers. I do think that they will have opportunities to trade down. Now, will it be enough to get them to trade down? I don't know. But they will have those conversations, and I think they will have some offers.
Mary Kay is going to be speaking at the Bay Village Men's Club tonight. Will there be, I'm being asked by some of the members, will there be any dirty jokes, Mary Kay? Because that's typically how they roll over there.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll have to start writing and think of some. No, I don't have any plan for right now, but the day is young, so we shall see.
I spoke to a high school last year. I told the aristocrats joke. It went over very well, Mary Kay. I'm sorry.
No, I'm looking forward to this tonight. Ken, are you coming?
No, God, no.
What, you're not gonna...
It's not just because you're there. Mary Kay, I live in Streetsboro. I can't be going to the Bay Village Men's Club.
Mary Kay, they've been around since 1917. Think of how many different crazy things have gone on in the world and here in Northeast Ohio. And the club has been there, stood the test of time, Mary Kay. So you are going to be among a esteemed group of speakers to this great membership. So we're all excited to have you.
Well, I'm honored to do it. And Ken, my goodness.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. That was a terrible, terrible answer. It sounded so bad.
Mary Kay, of all the coaches yesterday that spoke, did somebody stand out to you?
Well, my goodness, Mike Rutenberg, yes. I was ready to run through a wall for Mike Rutenberg after his press conference yesterday. I think the players are really going to enjoy him, and I think it was going to take someone special to make them kind of forget about Jim Schwartz. And I think Mike Rutenberg brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion, a lot of caring for players. He ends up with excellent relationships with his players. And I think it's going to be really exciting for these guys to have him as their coach.
Boy, that's something, Mary Kay. We're running out of time a little bit. Did they? I bet they had that thought going in, like, hey, we're going to need somebody who's pretty energetic, gets the guys going because Jim's not here anymore, and get these guys back on track with us.
Yeah, that's a tough act to follow. And I think Rudy, as he is known, is going to deliver. I really do. And he's got two things working in his favor, and that is the fact that he's got the existing coaching staff returning, and then he's got a number of amazing players on that defense, and it's a really good cockpit to land in.
Mary Kay, you're absolutely wonderful. We thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the speech tonight, the camaraderie of the Bay Village Men's Club. I know that they're wonderful people. I've never been there. I probably will never be there, but still wonderful folks. Mary Kay, you're wonderful. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, guys.
The great Mary Kay Cabot. Cleveland Plain Dealer, Cleveland.com, and the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. Well, that was a terrible answer by me. I'm sorry. All right. We do have one Cleveland legend getting ready to box a Cleveland sideshow at some point, or maybe has been challenged to that. I want to get back to that Rutenberg possibility there, because Lima, I think you just uncorked it. Like, you can't just go, and that's why I think one of these hires on this roster is a big deal. On this roster of coaches is a big deal, not just the special teams coach, but I think you just kind of unlocked it, what they need to do defensively to keep this team on track. Ken Carman, Toastmaster General, 922. Greg Williams, yes, that Greg Williams, on the challenges that Todd Monken has when so many great defensive players wanted Jim Schwartz. Ken Carman, Toastmaster General on the Fan.
Mary Kay is going to be speaking at the Bay Village Men's Club tonight. Will there be, I'm being asked by some of the members, will there be any dirty jokes?
I'm looking forward to this tonight. Ken, are you coming?
No, God, no. No.
What, you're not going to...
It's not just because you're there. Oh, Lord, what a terrible answer. I didn't mean it like that. Came off bad, though. Came off real bad. Now you're going to have it.
Mary Kay, dynamic speaker. She will hold it down.
How often do you speak at the men's club?
No, I've only spoken once.
Oh, you just go there?
Yeah, I'm now a member.
And you can't go tonight?
I'm a paying member. Going to Sarasota.
Yeah. Can you zoom into the Bay Village Men's Club?
I'm going to try. I wrote an intro for her.
What's the intro about? No, God, no. No.
Everyone welcome Mary Kay to the dais.
No, God, no. No.
Mary Kay, we're happy to see you. I'm sure everyone is happy to see you.
No, God, no. No.
Ken's been doing a lot of no's lately.
No, okay.
He's a big no guy.
Can we address that at 9 o'clock?
Sure.
Can we address it at 9 o'clock?
No.
I
guess we're not.
I hate being a funny duddy. I hate doing it. 9:22, Greg Williams is going to join us on the show. I really want to know from Greg Williams the challenges that Todd Monken has going into this job where a lot of players seem to want Jim Schwartz. Not that they hate Todd Monken or anything, at least not yet, but they really wanted Jim Schwartz as their head coach of their football team. I did hear Mike Rutenberg yesterday, and I think you and Mary Kay, right at the end of that interview, I think you guys knocked it out of the park because he is a high-energy guy. And one of the things that I like is that like you're going to need a high-energy guy because Jim's gone. A lot of people might be upset about that. You know, these guys got to be pros. They can't just sit there and pout all summer long. Jim's not here anymore. You got to be pros. You got to go out there and play. But you still are going to be compared to the guy they really like. It's only natural. It's only human. Okay? So you're going to need a guy to have pep in his step. And I don't know if he's going to go out of his way to be different from Jim Schwartz, at least certainly schematically, because I think that could be a problem. But you have a guy that's going to be maybe not a younger version of Jim Schwartz, but certainly high energy. And I think that this is key, where he's a young guy. Jim Schwartz has won a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator.
Came in with a gravitas.
Yeah. You also have another guy on this staff that I think is an underrated addition to this coaching staff, and Mike Rutenberg talked about him yesterday.
Everybody was involved in getting him here, and I really appreciate the organization for allowing us to bring Coach Capers here. Our relationship goes back to 2018 and 19. We actually, for a time being, shared an office, which was the defensive staff room, and he gave me his manual for Kevin Green. That is like gold to any coach. The manual for Kevin Green. Dom was obviously instrumental in coaching Kevin and all those great defenses. But what hasn't Dom seen? Like, what scheme hasn't he seen? What style hasn't he seen? What technique? What evaluation process? So we're all going to rely on Dom, A to Z and Z to A. And what's amazing about Dom is he does it literally from his heart.
Now, Dom has also seen plenty of hair dye. I'll get the joke out of the way now. All right, now that that's over. I've never met Dom Capers whatsoever. Maybe Greg Williams can expand on him coming up at 9:20. I do know people who know Dom Capers very well. And I didn't get a chance to say this last week a lot because, things got in the way and I wasn't on the show for a couple days. They are huge fans, and they think that this is going to be something that is the defensive version of Kevin Stefanski's Bill Callahan. Not my words. Not my words. If the defense sucks, the defense sucks. And it's not anybody involved with the Browns. Guys, I swear to you, I know it's only like Kenny, you only know Browns guys, you only know Northeast. There's thank goodness we got a network, a tentacle of people out there. And there are people that we know, Anthony, very well, that know Dom Capers very, very well. And people are in respected positions in this league, and they're going, he is going to be very good for them. He's going to be very helpful to Mike Rutenberg. He's going to help bring him along. Mike Rutenberg's going to be in place. He's going to have the power. But this guy is going to be really a lot of help to him. And that's where the Bill Callahan was excellent for for Kevin Stefanski. Bill Callahan, I believe, is going back to Atlanta with him, right?
It's a huge hire.
It's a huge hire. So this is a guy who I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna be making game plans for Sundays. I don't think so. He's a senior assistant, but he's going to definitely be somebody that puts people through their paces, checks and balances, organization. I think that he's an underrated guy for this defense.
I agree. I think you got to make some, grown-up decisions like this, and it's good that it's not like Todd Monken has such an ego that he doesn't want, guys that have been head coaches, experienced guys. Like, no, he wants some guys with some wisdom, and you'll take all the help you can get. And obviously, if there's a relationship here, makes sense as well. So I don't know how anybody could have a problem with that at all. Because you got a bunch of first-timers. Well, and I know people don't want to belabor that because everybody eventually has to get an opportunity and have it be their first time. At some point, I was a first-time radio show host. And no matter what you do for a living, like you're going to be a first-timer. It's just what makes us unique is everybody is a first-timer, with the exception of the offensive line coach, right? So that's what they're dealing with. And, to get buy-in and have some credibility from your players come training camp, you need some people around who have been around a long time.
Well, Rutenberg used, there's that old coach's saying of tough, smart, and accountable, right? We hear that a ton. He changed it just a little bit. He kept using the word violent. He said tough, smart, and violent. And he said violent like 10 times yesterday.
Well, this is
and it gives me hope that he's ready to.
Yeah.
We're going to see some pin the ears back and let's go type of action.
You're right. He's got to do his own thing. I'm not trying to be Chelsea Ross and Hoosiers here and go, we do things around Cleveland this way, Mike Rutenberg. Like, I'm not trying to be that way. He's got to do his own thing. But I thought, it hammered home when you asked Mary Kay about it, and you were both right. Like, you needed somebody who's going to be high energy. You couldn't just hire a guy who might have been a retread and also ran. You're going to have to hire a guy that gets people. If you're not going to have Jim Schwartz back, you're going to have to hire a guy that gets people excited, that can be emotional, but in his own way, and that also has a support staff. Because your assistants, you got to be able to have good assistants. An assistant has his own assistants. So I thought that was a big hire with Dom Capers, and I'm encouraged by Mike Rutenberg so far. We're just going into the woods. Okay, we're not out of the woods yet. We'll see how they perform on Sundays, because if they don't perform well on Sundays, they're going to hammer Mike Rutenberg, and rightfully so. And a lot of fans are going to be missing Jim Schwartz, and they're going to be going after Todd Monken. They're going to be upset that we didn't get Jim Schwartz as head coach, or whoever might have been out, Nate Scheelhaus, Grant Yudinsky, that whole thing. But that's the name of the game, and they know what they're getting into. And that's fine. 216-474-0092. Was there anything else that you took away from yesterday in those press conferences other than just run-of-the-mill, this is the way it goes? Because I know that there was some excitement, but there was some cynicism from people being excited. I can't blame those people who are cynical. I think that they should be critical. I think they should be judgy, because this is a team that has a rebuild ahead of them, and I can't just throw my lot in. These are likable characters here. These are likable coaches, especially the defensive guys that have stayed. But you still have to judge this team with a very keen eye, because Andrew Berry's job, for Browns fans, is on the line.
I just think the cynicism is just, we're Browns fans. We've seen all the losing. We've seen all sorts of different coaches, different sizes and shapes. We've seen, different mentalities when they get up on the podium. And I just think fans are over all of that. Like, hey, it's good to have some just normal optimism about what was happening was failing. So they got rid of Kevin Stefanski, and regardless of who ultimately was most responsible or anything, he's gone. New guy, fresh set of eyes, and a bunch of new eyes that are going to be in the building. So I'm going to give him, I'm going to try to be fair. I was going to say benefit of the doubt. Maybe not that, because the cynical part of me is just like, well, until you guys actually start winning, or at least you start inspiring. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. And, Kevin was able to do that in year one. That's what's so interesting about this spot is, again, a first-time head coach, but someone who's been around a long time. And whether it's a soft schedule, and it certainly looks like it's going to be, you still have to get that buy-in. And that defense does have veterans, right? They do have big-time veterans. You got a new defensive coordinator. How long will it take those players to buy in? This isn't the NBA where you can, let's be honest, you can swap out coaches here and there all over the place. And it might not matter, because it ultimately is just going to matter which players you have. NFL coaching does matter.
So don't you go anywhere. 9:22 this morning, Greg Williams is going to join us on the show. So if you're going into work, turn us on YouTube. It's absolutely free. Subscribe for free. You got to make sure you're tuned in to Greg Williams. You know he's not going to pull any punches. In fact, we got something he's going to say about a possible quarterback for your Cleveland Browns. There's a Clevelander that wants to fight Myles Garrett and not just sucker punch him at a stoplight. And I'm not afraid. I'm picky, and you should be too.
Anthony Lima for QC Kinetics. It is time.
92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
In your weeknight with the best segments of the day. The Fan Rewind. Weeknights at 11.
There is somebody in Cleveland who wants to fight Myles Garrett, and not while he's at a stoplight on East 9th. First, Akani.
Win a pair of tickets to the 2026 MAC Tournament Men's Championship game Saturday, March 14th at Rocket Arena. All you have to do is enter the word DANCE, D-A-N-C-E, by the end of the hour. And you can go to 923thefan.com to get registered to win. Tickets at rocketarena.com. It's all from Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. I am being told that tickets are going like hotcakes, Kenny. They're going like hotcakes. In fact, the club is sold out for Friday already.
Really?
This Miami thing, it's a big-time story.
Okay. We will monitor this.
So big that Myles Garrett was willing to stay up really late and have to drive home in a hurry from one of their basketball games in Oxford.
Well, you know what? I actually smell a power ranking after this audio from Logan Paul, who wants to fight Myles Garrett.
Not a single football player could beat me in a boxing match.
Myles Garrett.
That is on God.
Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett.
I would throttle Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett. I will bet you why did we choose him? It could be any name, but any football player. Myles Garrett, Puka Nacua, Tom Brady, Gronk. I don't even know.
Don't even try calling out Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold.
No, don't do it, bro.
Doesn't matter. $1 million. $1 million. You come to the gym, we put on boxing gloves, we see how it goes.
It's audio Logan Paul.
I believe it's impulsive.
Impulsive is the show.
His brother is the one that more seriously boxes, right?
Jake. Yeah.
Well, they're both.
Logan's the one that does WWE and all that too.
Well, I got to ask you, what is if this fight goes down? Who are Myles' top 3 rivals?
3 rivals: Mason Rudolph.
Well, just wait a minute.
The Watt brothers.
That's 3 already. Never mind.
Oh yeah, 2 at 1.
Well,
ready?
Is it one like a fullback?
Wait a minute. There's 3 Watt brothers.
That's right.
Name that Watt.
1, 2, 3.
All right, I'll go.
One that's not as good.
Derek.
It used to be T.J. Watt,
No,
but
I
not
meant
anymore.
TJ.
It's not anymore.
No, not at all.
Top 3 rivals for Myles Garrett. 1, possibly Logan Paul, because I do respect him as an athlete. 2, clearly I-71. 3,
we
I don't know
Mason
if he
Rudolph
has
thing?
any other. No, I don't know if he has any other rival. I mean, he's unparalleled in football. So
and he's unparalleled in parking.
Yeah, maybe it's Logan Paul. So I didn't know that he had called out Myles Garrett yesterday when that originally broke. I have not watched a live boxing match since Showtime Sean Porter. It's been a while. I would watch this. I would watch it, and I would not because it's my job and he plays for the Browns. I would go towards this. I would root for Myles Garrett. Clearly, I think that they both do fine heel work. The Paul brothers do, but I got to tell you, like you look at those guys. I know some people the gas, whatever. Oh, that's reckless speculation. I'm not gonna deal in that. They are good athletes, but I think there's a lot of football guys who probably grew up boxing who might be able to work both of them guys and work Logan Paul. Like Myles Garrett boxed. Like he's sparred, he's boxed.
He goes to strong style.
Yes.
He's trained some
Steve
MMA.
Bay a ton.
I think as Logan Paul had said that, like there's a lot of times, that's a Cleveland guy, that's a Northeast Ohio guy. You shoot your mouth off, and then while you're shooting your mouth off, you hear him go, why'd you have to say Myles Garrett? Because you realize that Myles Garrett's 6'5", Myles Garrett ain't nothing to mess with. He probably wouldn't get in your weird fight. He wouldn't? Do you think he'd accept it?
I don't know. You know, Myles without a doubt, and I don't know if I said this on the air, like something is going on where it's not that I think he's retiring like immediately or anything like that, but I think he's starting to look at, we know he's always been interested in a lot of things, but I think he's like becoming more and more famous, and he's putting himself out there more than ever before over the last few years. I'm not just talking about the trade request.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Would he totally be against starting to do other things like that? I always thought maybe he'd try some MMA, but I don't know. This would be late in the game to start something like that.
As an active football player, I don't know, because if you break your hand, if you get your jaw wired shut, you break your jaw, that obviously has an effect, does it not, Owen?
Well, and I would say maybe if his sack career hadn't, it's increased every year over the last 3 or 4 years, right? If he was still just like a 10 sack a year guy, then maybe he starts looking at those other things. Like, there's one guy in the history of the NFL that has 200 sacks. He's the next one that has the potential to be able to even be in that conversation, right? Like, because of his age and because of the numbers he already has put up. That's the only thing that makes me say, why would you go do that when you can etch yourself in history forever? Now, celebrity boxing on Fox.
Oh, that was
maybe
great.
He can fight the Fridge or whoever, or Manute Bol.
Rest in peace, Manute Bol. You took it right out of my mouth. Speaking of tough-talking guys who have been in Northeast Ohio, Greg Williams, who will be on at 9:22. Been a lot of quarterbacks that have been conversation pieces here over these last couple of weeks. There's one that has been brought up, Anthony Richardson, and it jogged our memory about what Greg had to say about him to Baskin and Phelps last time he was on the station.
When he wants to tap out because he's tired, he's going to go up in the stands and sell beer. I'm not messing with him.
That was weird, wasn't it, Greg?
Yeah. You're a professional athlete and you're tired. I don't care anything about that, okay? This is what we do. And now you're going to step in the huddle and you're going to and an offensive lineman that's protecting you, that if you play 74 snaps in a ball game on offense, no offensive linemen come out. They play all 74 snaps against power, against speed, against impose your will kind of defensive linemen. And now you're going to tell me you need a break? Yeah, we'll go up and sell beer. This is not the kind of sport that you need to be playing in.
See, I love that, because if I say that, I'm going to get ripped all day long, because I'm a great big fat radio show host who doesn't work out. He's a guy who's been in the NFL. He's a guy who's had to tell people, you're fat, get out of here. You're out of shape, get out of here. He's had to be the guy to do that. And I love that, because, you got to be a leader. You got to be out there. And hey, if he looked bad, like, maybe it's my job as a coach to go, whoa, let's get somebody else out here. He's ran like 4 times. But as a quarterback, you really can't do that. And Albert Breer brought up the eye thing now. And I'm not trying to turn it into an an Anthony Richardson conversation. I just hear football guys talk about some of these guys, and I go, man, this is a waste. Because you guys say, I'm just afraid. Mary Kay kind of made jokes saying I'm afraid of quarterbacks. I want to be picky. And it might not be about – I know what we have right now, and what we have ain't that great. There's some possibilities with one guy, but probably not. But I want to give him a chance. There might be some possibility with the other guys, but I think it's just going to be a lot of more of the same. And I want to ask Greg Williams about Deshaun Watson coming up and what he would do with him. There's possibilities out there, but man, I want to be picky, because if you're going and getting some of these guys, like some of you say, no risk, no risk at all. Yeah, on the surface, it's no risk. But if I only get 7 wins out of this thing, what did I really accomplish with Kyler Murray? What did I really accomplish with any one of these guys out there? Like, you and I talked on the phone yesterday while I was driving, and Aaron Rodgers got brought up. And this was the first I couldn't believe. You said no to Aaron Rodgers. You said no, finally. And I said, I got to get it out there, because I think everybody just thinks I'm afraid of quarterbacks. No, I'm picky about these guys. I'm picky. I think there's a difference.
Listen, I understand being picky and all that. I'm just trying to keep a more open mind than I used to have, because I used to do that.
That's fair.
I used to just say no on a lot of guys. But I think we're finding in football there are guys that situationally, when we always do nature nurture, like they're in bad spots when they come into the league. And if you just give up on all those guys, then that's fine. But then that means you're just really going into the draft every time. And that's a different type of a commitment. A lot of these guys, these reclamation projects or whatever, those aren't commitments. Like, you can throw that dart see if it works, and move on, like teams have with Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, right? And Malik Willis. Yeah, it sucks to have to pay somebody based on 1.5 starts last year, someone who's only started 6 games in their career. But ultimately, it's a $45 million in guaranteed worth of a mistake. Then you're on to the next one if that doesn't work out. And you don't want to have too many of those. You can't just do that every single year. But I do think the way the league is, and we're finding guys who are just not developed enough coming out of college, that you're going to have more and more guys that might have a rocky start to a career with a lot of flaws that are out there that you can't just say no on. You just need better situations eventually, or better coaching.
Because we can go to the draft and we could take a guy. We could take a guy number 4 overall in 2027, and he can end up sucking up the room too. Like it's a very inexact science, and I can't make myself feel better because I can't predict the future. So Andrew Berry has a plan. I may feel better about whatever quarterback you can get after free agency, after you maybe have addressed the offensive line again. Even though I'm leery about offensive linemen becoming free agents, I might feel better after the draft. Well, all those guys are going to be gone. All those guys are going to be gone. So it's tough for me to say yes, where I kind of see a light at the end of the tunnel, but I also know that the light at the end of the tunnel, if it's a rookie quarterback, it's going to be a guy that you got to bring in and you're going to have to nurture and you're going to have to develop. And maybe he's not going to be a guy who's ready to start week 1. I mean, we are kind of going back to basics in the NFL in a way that I did not see coming 10 years ago. I think NIL's changed it. I think the transfer portal has changed it. There's guys who have played a bunch of college football, and then they're still not ready to go play in the NFL because you're seeing so many tremendous differences between the two sports. So you have to be a little bit more patient. But the owners aren't patient. The fans aren't patient with it. They don't want to hear about it, especially a franchise that, has got to enjoy the playoffs twice in the last 5 years, but really 3 times over the last 26 years? That's terrible. So it's hard for me to tell you to be patient when I don't know if these guys are going to be able to fill the bill. And the only thing I can do is try to nurture them. So, I'm open to Malik Willis, but there's so many of these guys, I go, man, you're just desperate. You got to be picky. Just because we don't have something great doesn't mean we need to jump into something that isn't great either. Coming up next, Greg Williams is going to join us on the show. How difficult is it going to be for Todd Monken when you had Miles, who wanted Jim Schwartz, when you had Denzel Ward, who wanted Jim Schwartz? How difficult is it going to be for Todd Monken to walk into this position? And we got other big questions like, what would he do with Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders? Who would his week 1 starter be coming up? Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, Greg Williams, next on The Fan.
Hey, everybody, it's Anthony.
States will start their action in the WBC against Brazil in Houston coming up tomorrow night. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows. You can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
It's time to go to the Make It Right Call Right hotline. Lima's going to ask the first question on this one. We welcome in Greg Williams, former Browns defensive coordinator, former NFL head coach. Again, on that Make It Right Call Right hotline. Coach, good morning to you.
Good morning, fellas. How are you guys doing?
We're doing wonderful. Well, we do have to start off with an odd question. Lima, you got to ask him.
Yeah, I said earlier in the show, like, my friends didn't seem to care, but then people on social media did care. But when the news came out about Myles Garrett getting yet another speeding ticket, and the officer actually cutting him a break because he was really going over 100, this had been 9 times throughout his career as a Cleveland Brown that he has been cited for speeding. Does a coach have anything to say to a player when something like this happens, or is it kind of something you just shrug and say, well, they're $1 million athletes, they're going to do what they want to do?
Well, that's a really good question, and I have a lot of respect for Myles, and, you know, in my career, you know, it's been over 2,000 NFL players that I've had the luxury, the opportunity to coach, and a lot of them see me in certain instances like their father, like their dad, or like a brother. You know, it would depend upon the relationship you already have with him. But me personally, there would be some face-to-face conversations, and everybody knows I have a great respect for Myles and the family and everything when we brought him there. But you know, he's got to, you know. Sometimes you got to check your ego at the door every single second of every day, and you got to make sure this is not only for your safety, but for everybody else's safety out there too. And sometimes, you know, right, wrong, or indifferent, there's off-the-field things that affects the time that you're going to get an opportunity to play. And sometimes, again, depends upon what type of coach and what kind of person you are. You got to set the limits, and you got to make sure it's doing it the right way.
Well, Coach, that's great perspective, because one thing for radio show hosts to talk about this, but you've been in buildings, you've dealt with either behavioral issues or guys not holding up their end of the bargain. Does it matter who the player is? If somebody is just a special teams guy that's fighting for his career in the NFL compared to somebody who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, just set the sack record?
Well, I appreciate that question, because my presence and my philosophy has been, doesn't make a difference who the player is. You know, you set this for every single person that steps inside the white lines. You think about that, you know, when you see these people all of a sudden join certain big military entities that protect our country and all that kind of stuff. And one of the first things that happens is that you're checking the spirit, and you're checking the mindset of every single person that steps inside those white lines on training on the beaches, training on everything to do those type of things. And you got to do the same things no matter what company you work for. You got to set the parameters for your company to be successful. You got to set the parameters for your team to be successful. You got to set the parameters for the 11 guys who step inside the white lines and get that opportunity and luxury. And so, yeah, those are things that you got to do. And I felt no problems on doing those type of things to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Greg Williams joining us here on the Make It Right Call Kyle Right hotline. Todd Monken takes over as the head coach of the Browns. There were a lot of Browns who were vocal, a lot of guys on the defensive side of the ball, obviously, who were pretty vocal about Jim Schwartz becoming the head coach. It didn't happen. Jim left. Now it's Todd Monken. What are the challenges that face him taking over this football team, Coach?
It's a challenge on anybody that coaches in the profession. That's the top profession, professional sports league in the world, and that's what the NFL is. It's a challenge for anybody. I've had the opportunity and luxury. You know, Jim Schwartz was on my staff at the Houston Oilers Tennessee Titans, and worked his way up through the ranks. And you know, and I convinced Jeff Fisher and Bud Adams at the time, you know, those people to hire Jim to replace me when I left to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Jim is a very, very good coach, and he's shown me that, and he's shown the players that too. But I've had the luxury to working with Todd Monken before at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Mike Rutenberg also, started out his coaching career with me on my staff, on the defensive side of the ball at the Washington Redskins, now the Commanders. So Todd is a really, really good football coach and comes from a coaching family. His dad, unbelievable coach, and his two brothers, at the college ranks, very, very good coaches. And, I watched Todd do a great job. He was a wide receiver coach at the Jacksonville Jaguars when I was a defensive coordinator, and I watched him do a really good job of coaching and bringing out the best in those guys. And he had some high maintenance, wide receivers on that team at that time, and how he handled that whole thing. Jim Schwartz is a very, very good coach. He's had some things at all levels of the NFL. From being a head coach to being a coordinator, winning Super Bowls and being in Super Bowls, that type of stuff. I think the world of Jim, and those are the kind of things. I wasn't involved in the decision-making process, and, we didn't have any conversations behind the scenes. But Jim did a pretty good job there now, and the players know that, and everybody in the building knows that too. But that's the way the NFL goes. The NFL goes like this right there, and the decision makers made that decision, and now it's get on to do the best they can do right now for the Cleveland Browns fans and for the Cleveland Browns players.
Greg Williams joining us right now on the hotline. I always find it interesting how we get all up into our emotions on whether a coach is a loud talker, whether he is more reserved. Like, we obviously went from one side of the coin to the other with this hire. What does that mean for the veterans in a building? Is that something they take stock in?
I think, again, every day's an interview. Me to you, you to me. Me to the players, players to me. Every day's an interview. And so those kind of things behind the scenes, it'll start. Obviously, there's already the stuff going on behind the scenes individually with each coach in the position group, so developing relationships. But it is very important when a new staff comes up and gets started for your spring practices and your spring meetings and all that kind of stuff. It sets the parameters, sets the tables, sets the way things are going to be done once the season starts. You got to be able to eliminate the distractions. You got to be able to communicate in right ways. And how do we, every single coach, every single person in the building has to take responsibility to be the best that they can be, so that now the player can be the best that they can be. And there's, whatever your job and responsibility is, you're at the top of the world in the professional sports league, in the National Football League, and you got to do your job. It's important, and every day is an interview, and I'm sure that the coaches are doing a really good job communicating with their guys right now to set the tone for what's getting ready for the off-season program and everything that goes involved there this spring.
So, Greg, this was one thing we were nervous about, moving on from Jim Schwartz, who you've talked about, and that's somebody who's obviously been there, done that, and then led one of the better defenses over the last 3 years since he's been there. And now you go to somebody new that is yesterday winning the press conference and all of that. But what is the first order of business for somebody like that to come in when somebody else has been running the show so successfully? How do you come in and be yourself, but also make sure that you are still taking the best from what that defense was during that time?
Well, there's a lot of work behind the scenes going on right now with some staff members, that Mike has that was retained and everything, that knows a lot of the personality traits, knows a lot of the, the IQ traits, the understanding traits of the players that are there. You see all the different things when you're watching the film, from an athletic standpoint, from an ability standpoint. You see that as coaches, but you don't know a lot of the personal things that goes on behind the scenes on what that makeup and identity is in that person off the field. And those type of things, you got to be doing those things and setting up the meetings and setting up some welcome type things to get people to talk back and forth to each other. Every day is an interview. And again, I've had that sign when you step into whatever office that I've been in, and for 46 years of coaching, the very first sign you see when you come inside my office is leave your ego at the door, me and you. And then right beside that sign, it says every day's an interview, me to you, you to me. And the people that get the luxury to step inside the white lines to play, okay, have a goal setting and a parameter setting on what we are going to be as a Cleveland Brown inside the white lines. And that stuff is important to be established way before the season starts. And those are kind of things that are going on right now behind the scenes. And yes, the off-season program is always very important, but it's even more important when it's a new staff and a new beginning and a new philosophy. Those things are important from day one when that thing starts up.
Greg Williams joining us here on the show. All right, I know you still pay close attention to everything, even the Browns. Shedeur, Deshaun, or the field, don't care if it's early. I want to know who would be your leader in the clubhouse to be the starter.
Well, there is no leader, and I don't care from, again, Miles, from, Denzel. It doesn't make it if I know those guys inside now, but they saw that every single person was treated the same way, and every day is a competition. Every day is a luxury point. You're now in the National Football League, but things aren't just handed to you, and you allow to be the way that the norms have been set. You got to make sure you understand if you want to step inside the white lines and play in this league, there are parameters set for the off season. There are parameters set for training camp. There are parameters set for every meeting you go into. The very first PowerPoint that I've done with every single team that I've coached and group of players I've coached is the very first thing goes over how I go over. There's 9 different ways or 9 different priorities of how you set in the meeting from the very first day that we're getting ready to get started. And it's about the first meeting and then every meeting that we have to get ready to go out and be the best we can be as an individual player, but then as a defense, as all 11s inside the white lines. And you got to hold yourself as a coach accountable to the things or the parameters, the objectives that you put up there, but then you got to hold the best player. I've always, whoever the best player is, as the person I've been the most strong and most stern at in every meeting, in every practice, in every game film. And then everybody else salutes and says, whoa, that's how Miles has to do it. That's how Denzel has to do it. That's how Deshaun, that's how Shedeur, everybody's got to be this same way. And then when you as a coach can't hold yourself as a coach accountable, what makes the players think that they have to be accountable? You said this, but they get to do this. No. This is how it's going to be, and that thing starts on day one when you're getting ready to go this off season.
Greg Williams with us right now. Because of the success Sam Darnold has just had and what Daniel Jones was doing before the injury and maybe Geno Smith from a few years ago, Baker in Tampa, the reclamation project is becoming in vogue again. I would ask you, because we played your audio about Anthony Richardson earlier in the show, when it comes to those guys, who deserves a second or a third chance? How do you evaluate that, and which guys you just are going to be out on no matter what?
That's a great question. And one of the things that we've always done, that I've done, no matter where I'm at, is that I want to know as much or more about the person that I don't see on the field when they're off the field. And so I talk to as many people, from trainers to assistant coaches to high school coaches to college coaches to, friends and all that type of stuff of the people when they're not on the field. I want to know what kind of a person they are when they're off the field too. And then now those are the type of things, the building blocks, the setting stones that you are establishing how you handle every personality that goes into getting an opportunity to be in the 11-man huddle, getting ready to play the very next play to give yourself a chance to be a champion. So Those things are important right now. Those things right now, as far as a quarterback position, Todd will do a very, very good job. Excuse me. I'm sure that there are already things going on behind the scenes with private meetings and stuff that, other people are making conversations about as a staff, so we're all on the same page on what we're getting ready to do. But it's important for everybody to understand there's a new regime. There's a new set of rules, and that everybody is accountable to those set of rules, not anybody that has played for somebody else. Now we're all together, and it goes from, every year the team votes for the captains this year. Not last year, this year. Well, those captains this year are guys that have shown the example before they ever open their mouth. And that the most important thing is the example you set every day. Body language is important, okay? Staying accountable yourself as a coach is important. It's not about being their friend. It's about being the best that you can be to get the best out of the people you're working with. And that staff has got to make sure they're on point to do that. And I think Todd will do a good job with that scenario.
Coach Greg Williams joining us on the show. Go ahead, Tom.
One last question, Greg.
Yeah.
I know we started out talking about Myles Garrett. Is he the best you've ever seen, or does he need to do more to catch guys like maybe Reggie White?
Right now, I will tell you this, is that Myles is one of the top guys I've ever had the luxury of getting a chance to coach over the 2,000 guys. The best player I ever coached in my life was like a son to me, was Sean Taylor. And unfortunately, he passed, during the third year of his career, with the incident that took place that broke into his house. Myles is a top athlete, but right now is the whole career resume of the people that he's chasing. Those things have been established. And if you're going to want to be above any of those guys, again, every day's an interview, and you can't just all of a sudden show up and think that that's going to happen. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody else gets a chance to take a look at except yourself. And you've got to answer that question every single second of every day. To be the best that's ever done it, hey, you got to be the best that's ever done it too, okay, in your own personal trials, your own personal workouts, your own personal things that you're doing, okay, to be that way. And it's not an easy thing, okay? You're going to have to make sure you're doing it. And those guys that, from Reggie to Bruce to Smith to all those guys behind the scenes, I had a chance to be coaching in the league when, going against those guys and all that kind of stuff at those times. That's a big shoes to try to fill, and you got to be working very, very hard, Myles. I think he has an opportunity. But, again, you got to stay healthy, and you also got to make sure that every rep is counted and you don't take plays off.
Coach, thank you very much for the time. We hope to run you down again soon. All the best to you and yours, my friend. You take care.
I appreciate you guys, and I tell you this every time I come on. It's so important to what you do, and you do a fantastic job for the fans. It's about the fans. I love that you guys have the fan as the name of your show. And I hope the fans enjoy everything you're doing because it makes the team and also makes the sport what it is. Good luck.
You are awesome, Coach. Thank you so much. Greg Williams joining us on the show, former Browns defensive coordinator, former NFL head coach, still in the game with Tennessee State, with the Tigers. The answers he gave were fantastic. There's something there that really sticks with me because none of us seem to care. You don't really care that much. I don't really care that much. I can't feign to care, but he does, and I think we just got a glimpse of why we're the fans and they're the coaches. That's coming up in 5 on The Fan.
would be some face-to-face conversations. And everybody knows I have a great respect for Miles and the family and everything when we brought him there. But, he's got to, sometimes you got to check your ego at the door every single second of every day, and you got to make sure this is not only for your safety, but for everybody else's safety out there too.
That's Greg Williams with us just moments ago. 923thefan.com is where you can find that entire interview. If you missed a moment in this show, you can use the rewind feature on the free Odyssey app powered by Integrated Restoration, your local experts in water, fire, and storm disaster restoration. See, I that's kind of the difference there. And you could say maybe eras, things like that. I mean, he is a man in his 60s. I don't know if that's applicable. I'm annoyed to have to talk about it. Because I know how you're going to react every time we talk about it. You're going to roll your eyes. You'll bitch at me on social media for even bringing it up. You'll say it's a waste of time. And I would like to agree with you. But it's a Browns player. He's the best Browns player. But what Greg Williams gives us a little bit of insight into here is that that's the difference between us talking to each other and going, oh, here we go again. Okay. Yeah, let's just go ahead and beat that dead horse. There's a difference between us and how Greg Williams sees these things.
But my philosophy has been, doesn't make any difference who the player is. You set this for every single person that steps inside the white lines. You think about that, when you see these people all of a sudden join certain big military entities that protect our country and all that kind of stuff. And one of the first things that happens is that you're checking the spirit and you're checking the mindset of every single person that steps inside those white lines on training on the beaches, training on everything to do those type of things.
So it's obviously it's an important thing to them, or it's an important thing to him. And we've brought up the leadership thing before. Now, speeding tickets, do they mean you're a bad leader? I don't want to say yes, because we've all had them. When you have 9 in a relatively short amount of time, that's a problem. But it's a conversation that I'm so annoyed because it goes nowhere. And all it does is put you in a bad spot because I can't say who cares. There's plenty of people out there, and I've already got the social media reactions on it, that they care. They've had people be in bad accidents or die. Because every time we talk about it, if you try to fart at it, there's tragedy. And I'm careful about it because if something really does, something even worse than what happened before, if something really bad happens, it's the first thing you have to answer for when we do the news stories.
I also think part of it is, football, like we know, and obviously we know so much more about the brain injury stuff and everything, but football is the most reckless of the major sports, at least the way that we think about it. And the guys that sign up for it, we consider many of them, especially depending on the position they play, we consider many of them to just throw safety out the window, right? And I know NFL's tried to legislate that in so many ways to make it a safer sport, but in the end, guys are still going down with bad injuries, gruesome injuries, head injuries. And I only bring that up to say that those guys driving their cars fast probably does not compute to them as dangerous. It probably doesn't even seem, on a scale of things they do in their life, they're probably like, I'm riding pretty comfortably in my car, and at 1:30 in the morning, there's nobody out here, and it's just me and my thoughts, and I can just speed away. Like, it probably does not even register. People are sitting there clutching their pearls that are commenting like this is a big deal. And by the way, most people aren't, but the people that are saying this is so reckless. I mean, it's literally in the term reckless operation. To the players, they're like, I don't know. Go talk to me about what I do from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sundays in the fall. That's reckless.
And in what we do, let's be serious. If it were Alex Wright, if it were Winston Reed, if it were just about anybody else, yeah, you'd make a big deal about it. You'd make Cam Thomas, you'd make a bigger deal about it.
But he said, Greg Williams, he said he personally, doesn't matter who you are.
That's his
was
world.
interesting.
And that's an interesting insight because that's his world. Our world is, well, how good is he? How good is he?
Right.
How good is he? Well, he's really good.
Is he worth the
Okay, well, it's
time?
not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal.
Perrion Winfrey.
Is he worth the argument? That's exactly right. Is he worth the aggravation? Miles is worth. I'm aggravated because even talking about it is a no-win.
I know.
And he's still worth the aggravation because he has 23 sacks last year. And he's the best player in franchise history on the defensive side of the ball. And he's probably, if we were power ranking him all, he's probably top 3, top 4 greatest ever. Who's on the franchise? Probably, maybe number 2. If we really wanted to boil it all down. Jim Brown, number 1. Who's number 2? Him? Otto Graham's up there.
I was going to say Otto, but, I didn't see those guys. I only saw highlights of Jim Brown, really.
Different eras. Now, if Otto Graham could play in this era, we're getting beside the point.
But he has a chance. He has a chance to go down in history as if he could mix in a Super Bowl, that'd be nice, huh?
His greatness buys, for lack of a better term, soft pedaling by us. His greatness buys eye rolls by the fans for even talking about it. And there have been, again, and I thought Nick and Jonathan were tremendous with it yesterday. It's like, hey, man, we've talked about some very serious stuff with a lot of players that are on this roster right now. Way more serious than speeding. Way more serious than that. So when you have to spend time talking about those things, speeding, it's like it doesn't cut the mustard at all of what to really get into and really get into a row about.
There's a double standard. So, anyway, I got to get out of here. I got to catch a flight.
I hope you enjoy your time. I hope you enjoy your time. But you're going to a key party? I thought you were going.
You're flying the plane?
I got to rush out of here. I'm sorry, guys.
Wow. You guys have only been married for a couple of years. I didn't know you guys were doing that down in Florida. You shaking your keys to the microphone?
It's one of those key marathons?
Let me know if there are any cops on the way. Freeway.
Oh, boy. Okay. Right, big thanks to everybody who joined us today. Lima is headed down south. Hopefully I don't need any live reports from the marathon. The marathon's Sunday, right? Good for her. Hopefully she wins.
Hopefully she's speedy. Name of the show.
Yes. Hopefully she is. I'm back tomorrow, 6 to 10 for Big Country. For Jeff, go listen to Greg Williams on 923thefan.com. For John, for Tone, Slippery Wizard, I'm Ken Carman. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
This is the end of my silly little rap. Thank you for paying attention and making sure that you're not booing, but you clap.
Hey,
sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Oh, boy. Mary